Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with River Brown and Velez, and this is now episode 162. Today we also have a special guest, Pierre from Through the Wire, and in this episode we are going to debate whether or not the Celtics are dark horse contenders, if the Timberwolves can potentially upset a first round team, and rank our top 5 duos and more. A quick Patreon shout out to Mason, Rico, Gentile Drew, Cade MVP, Mark, SP Vorz Shot, Jordan, Evan, Dylan, Joel is the GOAT, Mayo, Andre, Matthew, Peter, Daniel, Biggie, Boston Boy, Ben, Mickey, William, Tyler, Ruthless Rootster, Sensei Stevie, Joel B, SA Crimes, Kevin S, Eagle Dollar, Tizzy, Corey Lee, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Playboy, Orlando, Big Chuck, Michael, Greg, Cole, Liam, T Grove, Tua Sucks on Ka, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Travis Ball, Aaron, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Dave, Muffins, John, Sean, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, P. Dot, George, Hikari, Mateen, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua.
And also shout out to Matthew Jimenez and Reese Muleman, who are YouTube members as well.
Hey, okay.
Sure.
Every single time I read the list, the names get longer and longer. My voice gets more strained and strained.
I can definitely hear like the new names that join each time that you read it too. So
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So right now we have Pierre with us.
Yes,
first of all, thank you for joining us. I just want to say, bro, like I've been a huge fan of Through the Wire for a long time, and you guys have been an inspiration for this podcast. Like when I first launched it, even on my content creator journey, you guys have been a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, man. I appreciate the kind words. I think that's the ultimate purpose, is to just create some new shit where we get to, make our own narratives and speak our mind, because we don't typically agree with the people we see on TV. So now we get to, put our own shit in the air. Shout out to y'all, man. That was a long list you just read off, man.
It's getting to
I
that
thought
point
you was gonna name like 3 people. That shit went on and on and on.
It's getting to the point where Joel is tired of reading it, which, listen, I understand there's a lot of names, but I keep telling him we got to do it. It's one of those things to become a pick-a-side staple.
I feel like there's like a cutoff period, though. I don't know what the cutoff number is, but there should be.
You're not reading 100 names, bro.
That was like 60 right there.
Yeah, 100 naams is crazy, bro.
I don't know, man. The people love it.
You got to cut it off then.
I don't mind it because I sit here and I clap. So that's really it. That's the only thing I contribute to it.
Somebody commented, they were like, Drew claps for every single name. Like you're clapping along the clap track.
That's 100% a fact. Listen, I'm very grateful to them. They support us, and I'm very thankful.
So on to the first topic of the show. We're going to talk about the Boston Celtics because Jayson Tatum has been on a tear. He's been averaging 30 points per game. And like the last 21 games, the Celtics are one of the hottest teams in the NBA. So the question is this: can anyone stop the Boston Celtics right now? And Pierre, I want to get your thoughts on this first.
Can anybody stop the Boston Celtics?
Yes.
Yeah, they can be stopped. I think when you look at the Eastern Conference, there's not a team that can't be stopped, in my opinion. We just saw Philadelphia be stopped by the Brooklyn Nets. I've seen Miami beat up on teams. The Bulls, every time they play a tough team, they lose. They beat the Cavs last night. Congrats to them. I think the East is a dogfight, so I think any team can be stopped. But I will say Boston is probably one of the most underrated teams going into the playoffs. I've been a Boston I don't want to say fan, but I like their team this year. I categorize them with a thing I call the less is more theory. You know what I mean? Over the last few years, they've had a lot of people that they kind of falsely relied upon, like Gordon Hayward, who was never really available, Kemba Walker and his knee situation, even back to the Kyrie thing. And I feel like every year they had some like false hope. And I feel like this year they came into the season and they had less on paper, but inside the locker room and with that team, you knew Jalen Brown and Jayson Tatum were going to be your guys, and you were going to rely on Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Robert Williams. And, they've proven, to be more effective with the less is more theory. Started off a bit shaky, but that doesn't matter as long as you figure it out. And I kind of like the way that they're playing. And I can't wait to see who they get matched up with, because when you look at the East and we can name 6 teams real fast that look real good. Somebody's got to lose. You know what I mean? Everybody can't advance. So it's going to be very interesting to see who they match up with. But I like the Celtics a lot. But I do think they can be stopped.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said right there. And I'll be honest, like in the beginning of the season, I was very low on the Boston Celtics. Not coming into the season. Like coming into the season, I was high on them. But then they started out 18-21, and Ime Udoka calls out the team. Marcus Smart is out calling out Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown for not passing the ball. It looks like a mess. This is one of the better in-season turnarounds that I've ever seen watching basketball.
Correct.
And I think Jayson Tatum right now is taking that true superstar leap. Like, he was a superstar before, but I would categorize him in like the 10 to 15 area of top players. I think right now it's not crazy to say he's a top 10 player in the NBA. And that's even like when accounting if people are healthy too. You can put him in the top 10. He's averaging 30 in the last 21 games. And Boston's defense has been spectacular. The toughest thing for me to gauge is whether or not I believe in Boston or Miami more. Because I was a Miami believer all year, and I still am. But I look at Boston, they're built the same way in terms of the defensive intensity. The DNA is there. But they have 2 guys who I trust more offensively in Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown. With Miami, I think they're a better all-around team, but all year they've had guys in and out of the lineup, and yes, they're still the number 1 seed, but I think chemistry matters. And those guys that are stepping up right now aren't going to be getting consistent minutes in the playoffs. Victor Oladipo is coming back, though. That's going to be huge. Yeah, he is back, but, he's not back to what he once was yet. But Boston, I feel like in the Eastern Conference, there are very few teams that I would pick against them. I think Philadelphia, just because of the star talent, the star power, but I can see Boston beating Philly. Milwaukee is the toughest series for them, I think, matchup-wise.
Without a doubt.
For sure.
You can see, you can see Philly losing to Boston.
Yes.
Defensively, Boston has the answers for Embiid. Al Horford and what is it? Time Lord, right? I don't want to disrupt that.
Robert Williams.
Yeah. That front court right there defensively is the answer for Joel Embiid. And then it's been shown, at least this past weekend, or Thursday, excuse me, that you get in front of Harden, you stop his driving lanes, you can limit his scoring output. You're not going to completely take away his impact on the game because he's such a great facilitator. But if you take Embiid, who's been one of the best, most prolific scorers in the NBA, and you have an answer for him, automatically I like your chances.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing at all. I never even thought about them matching up. I'm looking for any way that Philly could lose, to be honest.
Is it anti-Harden? What is it?
I don't want to say anti-Harden. I feel like I was bamboozled. I was a guy that was talking a lot of big shit for Harden. Like he's better than Wade. He that dude over the last few years. And then over these last like 2 seasons, him leaving Houston and now him leaving Brooklyn, and just realizing the history of James Harden, I feel like I was tricked. So I don't know if I'm anti, but I'm definitely like, I feel a way. I'm in my feelings that he tricked me to think he was something that I really don't think he is anymore. And I see everybody falling for the Philly shit, and it's like he make good first impressions, but that shit don't last long. And they was beating up on my Knicks and the Timberwolves, and everybody was trying to throw a parade. I just didn't really appreciate that. And I don't think they're as good as other people think they are. You know what I mean? They were good without Harden. The trade was for them to be great. You know what I mean? Without Ben playing and before the Harden trade, they were still a good team with just Joel and the guys. So I'm not throwing a parade because they're good and they're beating teams that they should beat. And then they go and they play the Nets, and we get the same type of James Harden that bamboozled me. The guy that doesn't show up in the moments, though that was just a regular season game. We all, as a basketball community, riled around that game to see some type of entertainment, and they just laid a dud. And that's just been a theme in his career. So I'm not disagreeing at all. I just never even pictured them facing each other. So that was just interesting. But Al Horford is definitely a guy who's given Joel Embiid problems in the past. So
I'm on the same boat as you with James Harden. I would call myself one of the biggest James Harden's fans in the world. I own his prop beard. I have a ton of jerseys. Usually, I didn't even change the Revis jersey. This is from the football episode. It would have been a Harden jersey up here. But you're right. And over the past couple of years, now that, we're living in present time, you look back at these moments. You look back at Chris Paul leaving James Harden, and Chris Paul has had more success, although he's outside of his prime. Where James Harden, since Chris Paul left Harden, you leave Houston, you force your way out. You force your way out of Brooklyn. That was the best chance you had to win a championship in Brooklyn. You force your way out of there. Then you go to Philly, and you're right, everything looks great, but in those games versus the Knicks and the Timberwolves, Joel Embiid and Harden were getting so many foul calls, and in the playoffs, I just don't know if that is going to translate. Like with Boston, that's a physical team,
for sure,
physical defensively. It's going to be tough, and that's why Harden is weird, because he's one of my favorite players ever, and the regular season output, you can make a debate for him over Wade, but people are always going to point to, well, Wade has this iconic moment beating the Mavericks in the finals in 2006. James Harden doesn't have a moment that even touches that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I definitely agree with you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I think the 76ers, that to be a championship team and to win a championship, you definitely have to have the players. Mm-hmm. But history shows us that the surrounding pieces are damn near as important. And when I look at the perimeter shooting, the consistency of that, I think about Tobias Harris being a rhythm player and how hard it's going to be for him to be in a rhythm now that he's going into some games as a fourth option with the emergence of Tyrese Maxey. And then, like I said, adversity is the key for championship teams. And James Harden history with adversity just ain't good, man. It just ain't good. So we'll see. But that was just my quick thing on Harden. I ain't mean to derail the conversation.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
It's interesting that you brought up, teams, they always have that surrounding piece. You go and you look at the past, you look at the Miami Heat Big Three, Mike Miller, Ray Allen, they hit big shots in the playoffs. You look at the Warriors, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston. You even look at James Harden and Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella, they had their moments. For me, Boston, I never thought they was going to miss the playoffs. I thought Jayson Tatum, Jalen Brown's going to get them there, at least the play-in. They're going to be in the playoffs. Defensively, they upped it up. The consistency has been there. The continuity has been there. The communication has been there on defense. They switch everything. Rob Williams has been an anchor on that defense. Derek White was a huge addition for them, a guy who can also play defense. So this is a team that can probably match up defensively with any team in the East. But like you said, Miami, they have all around. They have a lot of great role players. In Boston, it's tricky because it's like in the playoffs, can you trust those role players to step up? Are you very, because Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, everything still runs through them. And if we're being honest, in the playoffs, we haven't really seen them both go off at the same time on a consistent basis. This is probably the first time we'll see Jaylen. Yeah, you could say that, but I think Jaylen Brown's a new player now. Like sure. He's not the same as he was. So I think this is the first time we'll see Jaylen Brown on this level in the playoffs. But I think, can anybody stop them? I think we can all agree a few teams can stop them. Milwaukee is a dangerous team. Philly's a good matchup, but that's still a dangerous team. You look at the Nets still healthy, can still be a dangerous team. So I think there's a lot of teams in the East that can stop them. But like you said, there's in the East, any team can be stopped. I think the only team that probably has the most, the least amount of flaws is probably the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Boston, you look into Boston, defensively, we know that defense is going to carry in the playoffs, but offensively, can those role players keep up with other teams' role players? I know Jayson Tatum's going to show up. I know Jaylen Brown's going to show up. It's just, can those other role players step up to the challenge?
You guys know I've been high on the Celtics.
Oh, my God.
I've been high on the Celtics. Riv and I have our back and forth. And listen, which is why I have to give my disclaimer. Riv was the first OG stan of the Celtics. He was the first supporter. I told him anytime that I give praise to the Celtics, I have to give him his credit. Riv was right. 100% he was right. The Celtics are some of the most fun basketball to watch right now. Can they be stopped? There's teams that I look at that I would still give the nod over. Milwaukee is still my favorite to come out of the East. And regardless of where they are right now seeding-wise, You have to look at the Nets, and you still have to give them that respect. A healthy KD and Kyrie with the role players now that they have around them, that is a scary team. One that you have to look out for regardless, because KD in the playoffs, Kyrie in the playoffs, there's no team right now that wants to play them. They're probably looking at the top of the, they're looking at the top of the conference right now, and they're saying we can beat any of these teams. And if I'm the 1 seed, I don't want to be there right now.
If you're the 2, you might not want to be there either.
Just a disclaimer, the mayor of New York came out and he's not lifting the mandate, so Kyrie can't play in home games.
Interesting.
Yep.
And regardless of that fact, though.
Oh, no.
I'm looking at the Heat. I'm looking at the Heat and versus the Nets in that round 1. That is a series that, if I'm the Heat, I do not want to play.
You get Kyrie for half the series, I think Miami would take their chances.
But isn't there?
I'm gonna be
honest.
If Kyrie doesn't play home games, and if Kyrie because it's gonna be Miami in 2, and then you're gonna go back to Brooklyn. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think KD and Kyrie are good enough where they can get those 2 games. If KD's this guy, he should get 1 in Miami or maybe 2. Like, there's no way he's not able, with this type of spacing he has, able to get a win in Miami.
Game 7 would be in Miami.
And we're
Kyrie
talking
would play that.
when Ben hasn't even stepped on the floor yet. Ben's going to be playing basketball.
Ben
around
isn't
that
even
time.
ready for one-on-one contact. I just found that out
Really?
this morning. Yeah.
His back has him that messed up.
I don't know. He's your guy.
That's interesting. I know. I should know a little bit more. That being said, regardless, the Nets are still scary. I'm looking at Philadelphia. I probably will give them that respect off the star power. However, you're 100% right. It's a bad matchup for them. And the Celtics defensively are the best defensive rated team in the NBA. Jayson Tatum is good enough to get wins against Philadelphia. Jalen Brown, in my opinion, is still the best Robin in basketball. Because we talk about it, there's Batman and Batmans in certain situations. You have Joel Embiid, you have James Harden, you have Anthony Davis, you have LeBron James, you have KD, you have Kyrie. Kyrie is probably the most Robin of the names I listed. But even still, Kyrie is a Batman. He is that good. He's earned that respect. Is that wrong?
I don't think Kyrie's a Batman. I don't think Kyrie's a Batman. I think he's a Robin.
So
he's a certified Robin.
I agree.
He's a 28 point per game Robin.
Yes,
that's
I agree.
crazy.
I think he is. He cannot be the best player on a championship team, but he can be anybody's number 2.
He has the skill set to be a 1, is what I'm saying, which is obvious.
I mean, okay, I see what you're saying.
Most Robins do.
But
They
28
said that
point
about
per
Scotty
game.
his entire career.
But Scotty is the epitome of a Robin because he legitimately did everything for you.
So what's the difference between? I think Scotty's more of a Batman than Kyrie.
That's a fact.
Facts.
That's a fact.
Yeah, like that honestly, is he can do everything.
Yeah.
I guess, but he had one season of Scotty being the guy. Yes, they were great. The year after that, the team where the team really needs.
But you're
to
just
step
talking
up,
about
there
skill.
was holes.
If we're going skill for skill, Scotty's an all
Whoa,
NBA.
skill? We're talking Kyrie, who
listen.
might be the most skilled ever.
Pippen is an all
Offensively,
NBA defender.
Correct.
He's a great playmaker. He's a
He
great
is.
rebounder, and
He
he
is.
can score.
He was a good scorer.
He's basically Jimmy Butler, bro. If we're being honest, and Jimmy Butler is the best
He gets
player on the
praised.
#1 seed in the East. So
Even still, I have my reservations on Jimmy Butler. However,
you do, but if you wouldn't. Kyrie couldn't do that with Miami.
fair. But he's a point guard. It's hard to really impact or a shooting guard, whichever two you want to shape it. It's hard to really impact the game the way that a wing player does on both sides of the court.
I see what you're saying.
Kyrie is a Batman, man. I mean, a Robin, man. He's a Robin.
See, but that's the thing. If you're calling him a Robin, he's giving you 28 points per game. I would take that 10 times out of 10.
AD was a Robin, give you 28
See, but that's
points
the
per
thing.
game.
I still would consider AD a Robin.
I think you're looking
Excuse me, I would consider
think
AD a
you're
Batman.
looking at Robin as like a term of disrespect. Not everybody can
Yeah.
be a Batman.
No.
Bro. Like
It's
there's
not a
only
term
a
of
clean
disrespect.
6, 7
You're
guys
taking
that
the
can be a
easy
Batman.
way out, man. There's only one Batman, and it's only one. We've never seen a Batman movie where there was 2 Batmans. When you have a team, somebody
That's
has
wrong.
to be the best.
Stephen KD.
Yeah. Who? Tell me who was the Robin. One of them has to be the Robin.
Curry was the Robin,
But not
bro.
this, they were.
Curry
they
was
were
the
the
I'm a
Robin.
Curry guy.
Curry took the
was
step back.
Yeah, Curry was the Robin.
Thank you.
He was the Robin. KD was the
Yes.
Batman. When it was time to get a
Yes.
bucket,
But this-
they knew who to give the ball
But
to.
this all
Yes.
started because you called Jalen Brown the best Robin in the NBA.
He's the most complete Robin in the NBA for me.
All right, that's fair to say. Okay,
That is
I'll
fair.
take some other guys. But
All right, let's hear him. I want to hear him. I'm
I told you
genuinely
Paul
interested.
George was a better Robin.
And I shook your hand on that.
than,
I shook your hand on
Jaylen
that.
Brown.
For sure.
that's a great start right
Most
there. Paul
complete.
George.
That's
Paul George
the
is
thing.
way more complete than
Agreed.
Jaylen Brown.
All right,
Oh,
let's name another. Because right now
Give
he's
me
not.
Kyrie Irving.
Is he as complete as Jalen?
You with this complete
I don't need him to be
stuff.
complete. He's elite at what he's elite at.
Because
Yeah,
then if
he's
that's
better.
the case, then
He's
sure,
better. Who's more effective?
I'm taking Embiid.
Who's
I'm
more
taking
effective?
James Harden.
Kyrie or Jaylen Brown?
Kyrie. On
That's
offense,
all that matters.
but
who's more-
defensively,
his offense is more effective
No, it
than
doesn't-
Jaylen Brown's
no,
two-way
but
play.
Jaylen Brown's still giving you 23,
Nah,
24
bro,
points per
forget
game.
forget the offense defense. Who are you taking on your team? Who are you taking on your team to be the second best player on your
Of
team?
course, that's the thing. I would lean with these other guys because they're better. However, I'm talking
So
about
then he
complete.
can't be the best
You can't
Robin.
defeat me in this argument when I say complete. You can't.
But that's the thing about the argument. You making it a parallel to be complete.
I
That's
am.
why basketball is the way it is. It's kind
Correct.
of watered out because we make these things that don't matter. Who are you taking?
See,
And
that's
I'm taking
that-
Kyrie.
that's
I'm
tough
taking
because
Paul George.
look at the
I
Celtics.
damn-
They're
hey,
winning.
You can't. You know who else I'm taking? If you're talking about complete, I'm taking Bam Adebayo. Why? Like if we talking complete, I'm taking him over.
I can't
Jaylen
I am
Brown.
taking Bam.
He's
I might take Bam.
the
Oh,
anchor
my
to the
goodness.
defense,
Bro, Bam is a
point center.
DPOY candidate.
Bam is that guy, bro. I might
He's giving
take
you
Bam.
19
Jalen
and 10.
Brown isn't like that.
He's like that.
I don't think he's
And
as
look
good
at the
as Bam.
Celtics; they're still winning games. Like they're still one of the best teams in the NBA right now.
No, I agree.
We can't look at Jalen Brown and not give him that respect because
No, whoa,
Jayson
Not-
Tatum is.
Nobody's disrespecting him, man.
I'm just saying-
you taking it personal to Jaylen Brown.
I-
You can be
I
a
am.
good player and
I
not be
am.
the best Robin. That's not disrespectful to say he's not the best. Everything you just said about Jaylen Brown, you can say about Bam Adebayo.
Offensively, he's not Jalen Brown, but defensively, you're right. He's definitely
to be
better
him.
than him. But
You just
offen-
said the same thing about, but
See-
then you just said the same thing about Kyrie.
No.
Kyrie isn't Jaylen Brown. So it's like,
the difference
What we
there,
doing?
the difference there is one offensively is where Miami needs to improve if they want to be a championship contender.
Do you think they improved that much with Jaylen Brown, bro? Honestly,
Who, the Celtics?
no, Miami.
You're getting 24 points, yes.
But you're losing a defensive player of the year candidate. Like Bam is a guy who
again,
can guard
Jaylen
the
Brown's
he
still
can
great
guard no, but
defensively.
he can guard the rim
He can.
and he can go out and guard the perimeter.
He
He can literally like there isn't I know we throw this around, but he can literally guard 1 through 5. Like he can actually literally show you that he can do that. So that's somebody who I
It's
like.
impressive for
yeah,
sure.
you can't. I don't like in terms of impact. I don't know if you can put them on the same level. Jaylen Brown's a great player. Nobody's denying that. But
Can't put him on the same level. That's
I
rude.
think we have to see it first for you to say
I
he's
agree.
the
We have to
best
see it
Robin.
from
We have
Bam.
to see him actually be the best
Well,
Robin.
we know he's not the best Robin, though.
No, because you're
if
right.
you
in
want to
terms
say
of
he's one of the better
more
two-way
complete,
players, then
correct,
okay, that's
correct.
fine. I'm
He is
fine.
one of the better two-way players
But
for
finish
sure.
with your
14-2 since the start of February. They've been amazing. I still look at Milwaukee, and I still think this is a team that could beat them. That's the one team I'm looking at that I just give superiority over every other team in the East. They have everything I want. They have offense. They have defense. They have the best player in the world in Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's the team I'm looking at that can truly stop them. But outside of that, there's no team really that I'm looking at and thinking the Celtics can't beat.
The East is so stacked because, for example, like if we get a potential Boston and Miami matchup, that's going to be a dogfight. Man, I don't even know. I'm picking Miami as of right now. But I feel like if we get like Miami versus Milwaukee, I think Miami matches up very well with Milwaukee. Like I think Miami is the only team in the East that can beat Milwaukee. I feel comfortable saying they can beat Milwaukee. Every other team, I'm not very comfortable saying that. Philly
I
too.
agree.
Philly too, just because of the star power. But for the most part, Miami's the only team I'm like, they can beat Milwaukee.
I'm out on Miami. I can't. They need more offense for me to really be in on them. Defensively, no doubt about it, they're still great.
So I got a question for you guys. So if a series were to start today, the Heat versus the Celtics, who do you have in that series?
I'm taking
Miami
Celtics.
Heat.
I'm taking the Celtics.
I'll take
I'm
Boston.
taking the Heat.
I would
Miami
definitely
Heat.
take Boston.
And why are you taking the Heat? Specifically defensively, or are you
They,
just
they
saying?
they have everything that I need in a championship team. When in the half court offense, which is the playoff style basketball, they have everything that you need. They have veteran leadership. They have point guard play. They have enough scoring. You don't have to be the best scoring team in the world. And they have switchability. They can guard big. They can go smart. They got everything. They got specialists. They got shooters. Tyler Hero coming off your bench. It can give you 30. What don't they have? They have depth. They got guys that stepped up when guys was out, and now they got confidence, and the coach got confidence in them. They got guys that been there, grittiness, toughness. They go through adversity. They've had comeback wins. They've blown teams out. They got everything. They got everything. They just don't have
Detroit
the sexiness
Pistons.
and appeal. They don't have a Jayson Tatum who takes fadeaway jump shots and it look cute. But I don't care about that.
Don't minimize it. Don't minimize him. He's been balling.
No,
I'm not.
Level. I said that 2 days ago on NBA TV. They're not the sexiest team. Take away the Celtics.
They're the Detroit
They don't have a
Pistons.
Joel Embiid and James Harden. That's sexy to people. People like that.
But still,
but the Miami Heat are still a championship built team. You cannot find a legitimate flaw. You have to really pull a tooth to find something that you can say negative about them.
They don't have a prolific scorer. That's the one thing I look at, and I really just think
they're still
they
top
need
6
it.
in offense, though.
They're not actually. They're number 11th.
They're 11th in points per game or offensive rating?
In offensive rating. They're 11th.
I don't know. I think like
And the Celtics are 14th.
It's really I don't know, bro. Miami's such a tough team to analyze because you're right. They do have everything, but I just look at like in the playoffs. Like I don't know. Like I like other teams better. Not other teams are per se, but I like other stars better. You know, I think the playoffs is a star power thing. I think like star power wins out. And in Miami, they're gonna have to really rely on their other guys to come out and get. Because I don't know. Like Jimmy Butler, he's such a weird player. Like he's a great all around player, but I don't think he's like one of those. Like as we just talking about this year, one of those guys that can really like if you walk into a series against Philly, against Milwaukee, even against Boston, you probably have the worst star. Not saying he's bad, but you have the worst star in that series. Against Philly, you have the third best player in the series. So it's tough for me. I think like you said, Miami defensively, they're going to be in every game. Of course, they're able to switch, they're able to defend, they can hit the 3 ball. But when it comes down to stretch in that fourth quarter, I just trust other guys more.
Yo, Pierre, I got a question for you. Who do you think was the biggest acquisition for the Miami Heat this offseason?
I'll go PJ Tucker.
Oh my god.
Let's go. I was thinking the same thing, bro. I was thinking the same thing.
If they said Kyle, I'm not gonna sit up here and argue. If Kyle is Kyle. But for me, I look at shit different. Just like the star argument. You hit it on the head. I can't argue with you. They do have the worst stars. Crazy. That sounds crazy.
It sounds disrespectful.
But when you look at them against almost all of the teams, you might take DeMar DeRozan over Jimmy Butler too. We're just keeping it a buck. There is a lot of players that you'll take over him. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Butler guy myself, but that's why I find a balance. They don't have the star power, but all the other shit that they have overpowers any other team.
That's true.
Like by far. And I just love the culture. I love the system, and the coaching is championship top notch.
They have the best coach in the East.
For sure.
They have the best coach in the East. They are the Detroit Pistons, bro. I'm gonna keep saying it until they go on that.
I like the Raptor type thing with Kawhi. They're more of that team to me.
No, that Raptors team was dirty. And they had offense. Pascal, regardless of what you want to say, Pascal was amazing in that
I wouldn't
run.
say they're Toronto because
he averaged 16.
Kawhi
bro.
was just he was on a different level.
Kawhi is they don't have the Kawhi, but Jimmy
Correct.
Butler is a far more closer to a Kawhi.
Yeah.
Than that Detroit Pistons team was crazy.
Yeah, but they I call them that because they were so balanced in everything, and they didn't have they had no egos. It was a team thing. That's why I look at it like Miami's kind of set. Obviously, Jimmy I think is better than most of those guys, but they're kind of set in that way where they're defensively they're gonna get gritty, it's gonna get aggressive, and they can do almost anything. Like you have to really pick your teeth with them.
No, and that's
I like that comp.
I 1,000% agree.
I like that Toronto comp. And quick question: is Bam Adebayo more offensively polished than Pascal was that year in 2019?
As a full, just scoring or full offensive repertoire?
Full offensive repertoire.
Yeah, to me, I think so.
Yeah, Pascal was real raw.
Pascal,
He was.
Bam got to flip a switch sometimes. It depends on what Bam you get in some nights. I'll say that. You know what I mean?
Bam
I think Pascal got a little consistent during that little stretch.
Bam against Brooklyn.
Hopefully, Bam, that could be the year for him this year. After last year when they got swept, right?
Yeah, they got smoked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hopefully Bam understand, because I think that was a big thing that Miami Heat was
not
on
just
him.
that. Your boy Jimmy got outscored by Bryn Forbes. He needs to.
Don't say my boy. Miami's
Miami's your squad.
Miami's officially right now your
That's
championship team. I got to put you in that category.
No, if you're gonna say anybody is my boy on the Heat, it would have to be Bam. I'm not the biggest. I like Jimmy and his intensity, but you will not see me with a Jimmy. There ain't no Jimmy shit. You don't see me with a Jimmy jersey. You know what I mean?
I'm so glad you said PJ Tucker though, because I think he's been one of the more underappreciated players in the NBA for a long time. No, I swear to God though.
I'm sure.
What's the backstory to this?
Oh man.
Oh, he's a PJ Tucker lover.
Okay, so this the backstory. In the 20, because I used to watch the Rockets all the time because I'm a James Harden fan, and just off of watching the Rockets, I'm like, yo, PJ Tucker is really the heart and soul of this team, and people don't understand it because he averages like 5 to 6 points, but if you watch him play, like his impact is tremendous. So I basically, on Twitter just was fucking around and was like, okay, PJ Tucker's Stan account. I'm like, he's the best corner 3-point shooter of all time, the Kevin Durant stopper. I'm PJ Tucker's biggest hype man. I don't think there's somebody that can hype him up better than me. And every single time a topic comes up, everybody here gets annoyed when I bring up PJ Tucker because they know that PJ Tucker's my guy. And it honestly, my friend's not here right now. JC was usually on the pod. He became PJ Tucker truther as well once he saw what he did in Miami.
It's officially a stand.
But, you got to look at PJ Tucker with Houston. He goes to Houston to make the Western Conference Finals. He was a huge part to guarding KD and in that series. He goes to Milwaukee. He's KD's main assignment. And he does a great job on him, as good as a job that you can do on somebody.
Good wording. Good wording.
Good wording. KD stopper to me.
Jesus
KD
Christ.
even tweeted one time that he's the hardest person that he has to go up against defensively. And then this year in Miami, I felt like he was the perfect four for them to switch all around because, he's 6'5", but he can guard centers. He can guard guards. He's agile enough. I'm just a huge PJ Tucker fan.
I like PJ too, man. Not as much as you. But, I like him just for the insurance if they match up with the Bucks.
Yeah,
I think he can bust Giannis' head up a little bit.
Food.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We talked about Boston. They're one of the teams that I think they're either 4th or 5th in the East right now.
Oh, they're 5th.
They're 5th?
Yeah, they're behind us.
Next up, oh, wow. So you're going to lose in the first round. I didn't even know that.
We're going to beat them.
Get healthy.
We're getting healthy. You seen Caruso, bro. He's getting back, baby.
I told you, man. When are you going to give me my apology?
The Minnesota Timberwolves now, they're playing great. I was kind of disappointed because the other night, I forgot who they lost to. They lost to some trash team.
Yeah.
They lost to some trash team.
It was
they lost to the
Orlando.
Magic. Yeah. They lost to the Magic. Then they beat the Heat. Minnesota's weird like this, right? But they are 39-30. They're the 7th seed. Before the season, you guys know I said they're going to be the 5th seed in the West. You guys laughed at me. But it's in the range. It's still close. It
Definitely
can happen
is.
still. And I just think if Minnesota, they match up with the right team, they can beat them in the first round. Right now, they'd be matching up with Golden State. I think they'll lose to Golden State.
What's the right matchup, though? That's what I want to get to.
They can beat Memphis.
What did I tell you on the ride here? I told you this on the ride here.
I
told you this on the ride here. I knew he was going to say that.
They can beat
Elaborate.
Memphis.
Let's get into it. Elaborate.
Well, for one, I think in that series,
you're sleeping on Grizzlies.
Ja Morant, look, he's a great player. He's a superstar player right now. I think he's playing at that level. I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is that far off, but I think Josh has gotten so much hype. I think Karl Anthony Towns, what he's done on a nightly basis, has gotten slept on. It's gotten swept under the rug. He's been better defensively. He's one of the best shooting big men in the NBA. I don't trust any of their bigs on Cat. I like Jaren Jackson a lot, and I like Steven Adams a lot, but I think Cat will win that matchup. In this series, the X factor to me, though, is two guys. One is Malik Beasley. He's finally been playing better. He's averaging 14.5 points in the last 10 games, shooting 47% from 3. He's finally finding a shot. And Anthony Edwards. I think in the first round, we can potentially see Anthony Edwards just take off. Similarly to, back in like 2013 where Steph Curry versus the Nuggets in the first round.
Of course,
he just took off. We're like, he's here. I think Edwards hasn't reached that all-star. Like, he's an all-star level player, even though he didn't make the team. But
I know what you're saying.
He didn't take that leap yet. I think the playoffs are when he's going to take that leap and he's going to show everybody, like, no, he's here. And you add that with Cat, with D'Lo, with Vanderbilt, who I really like. Pat Bev is the heart and soul of that team. And I think Jalen McDaniels has really
he's good.
Upped his offensive game. He looks like a more polished offensive player now. I think Minnesota can upset a team in the first round. I think they can beat Utah. I think they can beat Memphis. I think they can beat Dallas. I just wouldn't put them past Phoenix or Golden State.
You think they could beat Denver too?
Yeah, I think they can beat Denver.
Okay. I knew you was gonna say that because you've been high on Minnesota, so I figured it was gonna be something coming out of you today, and I got it. You talk about John Moran and Cat. They're not. First of all, let me say this: I'm not a Minnesota Timberwolves hater. I'm not a hater.
No one hates on
As you
Timberwolves
proceed
here.
to say some hating ass shit.
Timberwolves fans swear I'm hating. I'm not a hater.
That's so crazy that you have to say that these days.
I
Man.
know.
Yeah,
That's
like,
criticism.
Like, I'm not a hater. It's just we're on the show. I got to do what I got to do. So here we go. The Timberwolves, like you said, they're the 7th seed. First of all, they have to get out the play-in, and that's going to be a tough feat. Zion's coming back. Paul George might come back. You still have to worry about LeBron James. He can give you a win on any given night. So first of all, they have to get out the play-in. But if they get out the play-in, which they have a great chance because they only have to win one game, like you said, they're probably going to be a 7th seed. So we're looking at a matchup against the Warriors, maybe, or Memphis. Probably those are the two likely teams. For me, I just look at Memphis, and you said those are your X factors. For me, the X factor is Dillon Brooks. I look at Dillon Brooks as their best perimeter defender, and I look at a guy who has to come. He's been hurt a lot this year, so I look at a guy who has to come in and be that stopper, and he's probably going to be tasked with guarding Anthony Edwards for the series. If he can, in which he has the ability to really stop Anthony Edwards, that's really going to put a crush on Minnesota Timberwolves because Cat, like you said, Cat's going to do what Cat's going to do. John Morant's going to be him. It's just going to be I like Memphis role players better. I like the fact that they can go 10 deep, and I like the acquisitions that they have. Steven Adams, Desmond Bane. I like DeAnthony Melton. I like Kyle Anderson. They're all good defenders, and I like the fact that they play together. I like their coach. Minnesota is a young, exciting team, but I look at D'Lo, and Ja easily wins that matchup for me. I look at Jared Vanderbilt. He's a great defender. I look at Jalen, like you said, McDaniels. He's really good, but it's just like something for me. Memphis is just on a different tear this year for me that I think John Morant, like you said, you think Cat and John Morant is close. I don't think it's close because I think John Morant's leadership, I think the way he carries his team, the way he leads his team in the locker room is something that puts him a little bit over. And, of course, he's a point guard, so it's different. I think his impact in a playoff, he averaged 30 his first playoff series. He outworked Steph Curry in a playing game. I think that puts him over Cat too. So I like him as a playoff performer. And I think like the matchups, Minnesota matches up with other teams, but I think the experience is going to win out on most teams like Denver. I like the Joker in that matchup. I think Denver could still win that. And if Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. come back, that's still going to be a tough game for them. You said Dallas. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I think Luka, the only thing that was stopping him was Kawhi. And even then, he was still putting up historical numbers. I don't think anything can stop him right now. I think he's due for a really elite dynamic playoff series, and he could possibly get out. Utah, they've had their troubles, but Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, you still can't sleep on him. But I'm not even going to sit here and say that's like a terrible take because Minnesota is a really good team, and when they are healthy, they're one of the best offenses in the NBA. So defenses. So I can't even say that's
top 10 in both.
I can't even say that's a terrible take. I just right now, I wouldn't even say it's a bad take. I just trust Memphis.
Dillon Brooks, okay, I respect that because I know he's an elite defender. But Pat Bev was on JJ Redick's podcast, and he was like, Anthony Edwards could be Michael Jordan. You know what Michael Jordan did in his first playoff
That was
series,
the
right?
dumbest take I've ever heard in my life.
Sorry, you tweet that. I was crying.
Like, that's ridiculous to say that, bro. I knew you were going to say that, too. Like, he said that, and I just looked at, like, come on, bro. Like, no.
He's going to have to take a huge
He's not even weighed yet, and you already jump into
Facts.
like, come on, man.
Facts.
I think Minnesota's a sleeping giant. I really do. I mean, they're 33-21 since starting 4-9, which is the 6th best record in the NBA since that point. They're 3rd in offense in that stretch. Malik Beasley the other night just set the record for most threes in a game by a Timberwolf, who it was previously held by Anthony Edwards. And people don't notice this if you just watch the game, but I listen to the post-game press conferences, especially Anthony Edwards, because he's I think one of the coolest players in the league. And everybody on that team is genuinely happy for one another and their success. And I think that chemistry goes a long way. Memphis, I think they have more depth, no doubt. I do think Minnesota has more star power, though.
I could see that because, D'Lo, Edwards. But is it like they have more star power, but is it wrong to assume Desmond Bane can play on the same level as D'Angelo Russell in a playoff series? It's not wrong. I don't think is it.
It depends on what D'Lo you're getting because he's inconsistent.
Yeah, is it wrong to say Jaren Jackson Jr. can have more impact on a playoff series than Anthony Edwards? I don't think so.
Defensively, Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson could put Cat through a tough time. I'm not saying they're going to stop him. No way, because you can't stop Karl Anthony Towns.
I'm looking at Jaren Jackson as a guy who can go out there and guard the perimeter and he can guard down low. So that's going to be a tough matchup for Cat. And you have Steven Adams down low. Jared Vanderbilt, as good as he is on the defensive end, he's more of a cutter, and he's not really a floor spacer. So I look at that. Maybe you could put Steven Adams on him, have him help on defense. It's like,
and that's how I'm looking at it. Also, you have two guys that could at least limit Karl Anthony Towns. There's no one on the Timberwolves that could stop John Moran. And that's
somebody in the league.
That's a fact. But that's another reason.
Well, Pat Bev would be on him.
Oh my God!
And that's food.
No, that's literally food, bro. Like in his
and
John Morant in the pick and roll is so dangerous. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna put Pat Bev and Cat in really tough situations. They should put Vanderbilt on him. Honestly.
You can't disrespect Pat Bev like that, though.
I would put Vanderbilt on.
But it's John Morant.
But he made D Book shoot bad in the Western Conference Finals.
Agreed.
You can shoot bad, but it still didn't impact the team to lose.
Oh, they took him to 6.
Yeah, what are you saying?
I mean, they lost ultimately.
They took him to 6 with no Kawhi.
It was a great performance by the Clippers, without a doubt.
Yo, Pierre.
You can't forget that Paul George was
the janky DeAndre Ayton live too, man. The Clippers played well, man.
That could have been a 7-game series.
Were awesome.
That was supposed to be the Clippers win. If I'm being Paul George missed free throws.
Campaign gave them a 30 ball in game 1. Come on,
that wasn't supposed to happen.
Damn, man.
That was the Clippers.
I'm mad we reliving this shit. Paul George is my favorite player. I wanted them to win that.
That's
shit
my
so
dude
bad.
too, bro. I know how you feel, bro. That's my. The
When he
Clippers
missed
lost.
those free throws, bro, it's just like
Bro, he was on the way, bro. That fourth quarter, he hit 2 big shots. He was on his way to an historic moment and then missed the free throws, and I wanted to cry like so bad. Like that was the moment I really wanted to cry.
I remember that happening and wanted to man.
I'm like, bro.
I know you were hurting.
I was in pain.
He was rewriting that narrative. They was shitting on him, and it was just like, that would have been the cherry on top.
First game, he had 36. He was bugged. I was in pain, bro. Like I was so much pain, bro. Like nothing could go right, bro.
So Pierre, what do you think about Minnesota and potentially upsetting a team like Memphis?
Hey man, you got a lot of love for Minnesota, bro. That's what I'm not. I like them too. I like them like you do, but man, I don't. You name some teams, bro. Like them potentially upsetting somebody is an argument in itself. But you named off the Jazz, the Nuggets. You said Memphis, and who else did you say?
Dallas.
Utah. Like those are some tough teams. A lot will have to go right. I guaranteed that they would make the playoffs. I didn't care. I think that's the main thing for them. I'm not even looking for nobody for them to upset. They just need to make the playoffs. That's the step in the right direction. But I think you said something that was true, and I think it goes to whoever they play. It depends on what version of the players that they get, because they could have a lot of star power, or they could only have one star. I see some nights with D'Angelo Russell is matching Cat, and they have like a tandem, and then it's Anthony Edwards struggling, or some nights where Anthony Edwards is their guy and Cat is with him, and D'Lo is struggling with 13 points. Very seldomly do I feel like they have this 3-headed monster that I think that they could be. I'm not saying it's out of the possibility of it happening in a playoff series, but I think y'all make great arguments for the Grizzlies. I think on some nights, Desmond Bane could outplay D'Angelo Russell or Anthony Edwards. Jaren Jackson statistically might not mess with Cat, but effectively he could impact winning basketball. No, and then John Moran becomes your deciding factor. I get what you're saying. Karl Anthony Towns and Ja may be on the same level of player, but the fact that Ja is a point guard and he's shown that he elevates his game in the moments. And what he did to the Jazz when they didn't have Donovan in that game 1 in Utah. And even when Donovan came back, Donovan had to come back earlier than they thought. Yeah. They was going to try to arrest him, but Ja put that pressure on him to have him come out on a bummed ankle just because they was that scared. So I can only imagine what he would do to Karl Anthony Towns pick and roll. Karl Anthony Towns has gotten better, but no matter how good you are, we saw him punish the Defensive Player of the Year. And I don't think Cat is that. So I like the Timberwolves, and I'll be happy for them to make the playoffs. I think that should be their focus. Upsetting anybody.
If you had to pick one, who would you pick in the West?
As much as it's going to hurt me to say this, because I really like this team too, just because I have no other option, the Mavericks. Yeah. But even then, it's like Luka would average 40. I saw what he did to Paul and Kawhi. But the Nuggets, no way in hell. No way. Jokic is just too good. And then the Memphis, maybe Memphis. Maybe. You have to hope Desmond Bane has a terrible playoff series, but I don't know.
I don't want to disrespect the young guys.
I'm just
That's
letting
why
you
I don't
know
like it.
Dallas is gonna have a field day with you. Just the FYI moment here. Their fan base is a little crazy. They're gonna have a field day with you.
I've been through with every fan base already. I'm like 5 years into this, man.
Which fan base gives you the most help?
It changes. It used to be the Celtics.
As a Knicks fan, makes sense.
We're Raptor fans. Raptor fans have been.
They used to hate me. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They love you now.
Yeah.
And who else? I would say that's pretty much. And anytime you say anything about Russell Westbrook,
let's not, please.
Anytime you say something about Russ, but I think that's about it. And probably I had some Philly as of late, just because I don't.
So
think
your whole division rivals, pretty much.
I was gonna say exactly.
Yeah, true.
Makes sense. Okay.
Have you ever
But I
gotten?
don't pop shit as a Knicks fan though. I don't do that. Like even when the Knicks was hot, I wasn't talking crazy. I'm a humble Knicks fan.
This is
Because
ironic
I'm just
how that
like
went.
I'm happy for the ride. I didn't think the Knicks was gonna win the championship, so I didn't talk too much shit because the possibility of what happened to us was always there.
Yeah, I agree. Have you got any backlash from Knicks fans?
Yes. Plenty of Knicks fans. I don't really like Knicks fans. You know what I mean? Knicks fans are kind of dumb, arrogant for no reason.
Yeah, a lot of Knicks thoughts are on delusion to a degree.
And the Cam Reddish shit, when I was like, man, I felt like if Cam Reddish at the start of their careers on draft night would have went to a situation as good as RJ's for personal sake, I think he would be on par player for player as RJ. It's important as a rookie, especially a wing player, to come into the league with opportunity. So Knicks fans ain't like that.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, I know. I've been there with the RJ stuff. I said that his player comp for me, I was like, I think he can be like a Harrison Barnes. That's like my projection for him.
For who?
RJ.
I wouldn't go that low. That's a little tough.
It was when he was averaging like 14 on horrible efficiency in the season.
Pierre, I don't want you to say that. Like Harrison
RJ.
Barnes, he's better than people give him credit for. Like I understand
RJ Barrett is better than what people give him credit for.
100%. You're right. But I'm saying in the sense of Harrison Barnes left the Warriors and nobody talks about him because he's on the Kings, and it makes sense. That being said, he has been a lot better than what people give him credit for. He's easy in terms of scoring the basketball. I give you 20 easy.
It's Harrison Barnes though.
No, understand.
No,
which is why
you're really making an argument for Harrison Barnes.
I'm saying in the sense of why I don't completely shit on his RJ comparison.
I just said that because like I was talking about in terms of career projection, not the type of player they are, but just in terms of like what I can get from RJ. Because early in the season, I was like, okay, what is RJ's role? Like, what is he going to excel at in the NBA? I did not see these flashes of him being an on-ball player. Like now he's really showing it to where like I'm comfortable with the ball in RJ's hands.
Definitely.
But I thought it was gonna take him time to find a role in the NBA, and I kind of saw him kind of like a Harrison Barnes where he'll float around some teams. I don't know if he'll ever be like a star, but now he's playing like it. I mean, I can't even deny it. He's playing amazing.
Yeah, I never thought of Harrison Barnes. I was like on a Toronto DeMar DeRozan type trajectory. I know everybody looks at DeMar DeRozan differently now because of what he's done this year. But the Toronto era of like, this dude is good, he's not great, probably won't build my franchise around him, but if he's the best player on my team, we can make some playoff, series. He might make a couple All-Star game, and that was that. But Harrison Barnes, nah. And it's not because Harrison Barnes is some terrible player, but I'm not here to. We're not gonna talk up Harrison Barnes. Like, where is Harrison Barnes? Harrison Barnes is a top what player?
100.
Yeah,
I would say top. Would you guys say top?
Yeah,
75?
never in my life was thinking like, oh, will RJ Barrett be a top 100 player? Like, nah, I ain't go that low.
The best name that I think of when I think of RJ and their trajectory is Brandon Ingram. The way that they both have come up is very similar to me, and now we're starting to see.
Whoa.
In what sense is that really wrong? Look at it. You look at it early in their careers. Brandon Ingram and RJ struggled their first season offensively. Next year after that, they took a very similar leap in points per game. Year after that, we really saw Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram.
Got LeBron.
Brandon, yes.
He got LeBron. But then he went to the Pelicans and was good.
Brandon Ingram is a way more polished basketball
Yeah, I think
player.
like it's different when a guy comes in not polished and a guy comes in already polished. Like Brandon Ingram, Jayson Tatum, those are guys who came
You're
in
saying
already
that
with the
RJ was
skill.
very his
He didn't have the
talent was
skill
raw.
yet. Yeah, he didn't have it yet. Those two like guys like that come in
So
with the
kind of-
skill already.
I feel like that's still praise to RJ and the fact that since coming to the league,
No,
he's
yeah,
only
that's why
continued
that's
to
why it's
work on his
different.
game.
Like he's.
And I don't mean that any slight to RJ. Brandon Ingram's an all-star. He's a great basketball player.
What about Jimmy Butler for RJ?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. I feel
I
like-
would say Jimmy or Jalen Brown.
I like that.
Yo, shout out to your Cam Reddish take though, because I've been saying he's gonna be the best player in the league for like the last 3 seasons. He hasn't done it yet, but I'm just waiting on that next superstar leap.
If
That
I
victory
don't-
lap's gonna be
it
crazy.
May not, we may never see it, bro, just because I think that's the part of the game that people don't see, man. I think it's a lot of situation. Things are situational, just like the Brandon Ingram shit. It's no coincidence that he left the Lakers and then that first year he was an all-star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think things are situational, and I think especially early in your career to be able to walk into a situation, where you are handed the keys and you're a priority from the start, versus Atlanta where it was already Trey, it was already Collins, then DeAndre Hunter was drafted in front of you. You know what I mean? Then they brought in Bogdanovich, and it just got piled on, and you got this small window of error and margin to really work with. And I think it can hurt you. I've been a basketball player before. You know what I mean? Subconsciously, you start to doubt yourself and doubt what you do. You try not to make mistakes, and when you try not to make mistakes, you end up making more mistakes, and you try to do too much. We're seeing Cam Reddish shoots a lot of terrible shots, and I think that's because when you don't have a bunch of opportunity, once you do, you press to make that impact to show I belong. So I'm with you. I was high on Cam. I'm still high on him. I just don't know if I'm as high on him anymore. We'll see.
It's unfortunate he's out for the season because
Good. Because
Yeah.
they don't even play him.
No, but they were actually starting to play him a little
It's
bit.
inconsistent. Let him go rest, and then next year, hopefully they fire Tibbs, and then we move.
You better hope for that.
I do hope.
You said a lot of stuff about Cam
I
Reddish.
will forever stand Cam. Like
listen,
that's my
that's
guy.
Me too, bro.
Yeah,
Me too. That's what
my
people don't
guy.
understand. My shit like that don't change because it was never. That's something that, you know what I mean. Where he went is never going to change. So my opient won't change.
I wish he came to
People
LA.
always hit me up like, man, what you see what RJ did here? You feel the same? Yeah. You went to the wrong team.
So on
What
to the
the
last topic with Pierre. We're gonna rank our top 5 duos. I saw you guys a video on TikTok through the wire. You guys did this a similar thing to it. You guys were picking between duos.
Yeah. And I wasn't a fan of how I went, so I'm interested to see how y'all do it. Everybody values different things when it comes to basketball, but
What weren't you a fan of?
we let the Lakers get far, and I don't care that they won a championship.
Oh,
You
that's
know what I
great because
mean?
me and Joel won't have them on our list.
Yeah.
My guys.
Yep, nah.
Perfect.
Maybe him. He's a LeBron guy, so maybe he might do it.
The only reason they're not on my list because we're talking right now.
I'm surprised you don't even have them.
I don't.
Oh
They
yeah, I
were-
thought you had him at 5.
So LeBron and Russ don't count?
Oh, so y'all specifically doing right now? We didn't do that. We just did duos, but I was taking everything into consideration, the past and right now.
So if we're saying
And I just-
past, oh my goodness, Pierre, not having LeBron and AD is rude. It's
We're
rude.
doing right now, but that's a good question because as I was preparing for this and I'm ranking my duos, I didn't know what I wanted to value more. I'm like, okay, should I value proven duos over the talented ones? And I have my list here, so I'll just give mine first unless you want
I
to give
wanted to
yours
say
first.
the way I did mine was I valued winning and statistically what are you putting out that's impacting winning. So that's how I did mine. So as of right now, that's how mine's went. So you want me to go
Okay.
first? Or you?
What about what about you, bro? He ain't say what he valued. I think this is it. No, I think y'all doing it better than us because I think we should have did that. I
Yeah.
think that's what we messed up at. We didn't make a clear point on what we valued, and I think some of us valued past because D Mills is down there arguing Damian Lillard and Anthony Simon.
Oh, goodness. Oh,
and we
goodness.
haven't even seen it, and I'm like that irritated me. And then it's like you're right, not having AD and LeBron as a pass duo is rude and disrespectful. But it's like, how much do we value that? And if we made a clear stance, how y'all just did, I think we would have had a more progressive.
He really wants to know how you do
No,
it.
it's fine. Mine's a little combination of both. Mine's basically on talent in terms of me projecting them to win and what they have done already. But really,
Oh, so basically this year because you don't have LeBron and AD in there.
correct.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
I like it.
So I'll go first. These are my top 5 duos this
You going
year.
all 5?
Yeah, unless you guys want to like do it,
And we're going 5-1.
I said we go 1-1-1. Go or 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so from 5 to 1.
Yes.
Okay.
5-1, 1-1-1.
Okay, so at number 5, I have Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown. At number 5.
At number 5, I also have Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown.
At 5, I got KD and Kyrie.
Oh my God.
You got them at 5.
Yo, that is wild.
Like-
I hate that. I hate
Well,
that.
you gotta look at it like this. Kyrie is a part-time basketball player. Kevin
right.
Durant,
All right.
he's been hurt a lot. But when they do
That's
play,
the
the
route
short
we wanna
time.
take.
No, I'm talking about this year. The short time they have played, they've been effective, and they're both an elite talented duo. So out of respect, because they've been elite, they've been talented, I put them at 5.
They're 4-2 this year when they play together.
See, it's not
And look
even
at what they did against one of the most unstoppable team in Philadelphia.
they took it personal, but I'm not going to put them over. You're going to hear the next 4 and understand why I have the next 4. They're a playing team, bro.
And KD's been out for however many
That's why
games.
they're
and
at
when
5.
But when he was healthy, they
I
were
don't want to
one
say,
seed.
but I don't care about
And
when
look at
he
me
was
giving
healthy.
KD praise.
Kyrie is a
You know I
part-time
don't do that.
basketball player, bro. I get like, what do you want me to do with that?
Come
You want
on,
to put a
man.
part-time duo in here? I put him at 5.
You're better than that.
I could have said
You're
KD
smarter
and
than
Harden.
that.
I could have did that.
So what do you think, Pierre? You think, is it crazier to have KD and Kyrie at 5 or Tatum and Brown at 5?
KD and Kyrie, but he said listen to the rest of his list, so I owe him that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my number 4.
Wait, who's his 5? We didn't get his 5.
What was
I'm just listening to y'all.
Oh, okay.
I had an idea that was what you were doing, but now we got clarification. At number 4, Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
what the? His list sucks. I just want to let you know that right
Well,
now.
then my list sucks
How?
too because I have Chris Paul and Devin Booker also.
Oh my God.
How are they not
All right,
here?
I
They
don't-
made the finals.
All right, I don't think your list sucks, but I think our lists are going to be
First
completely different.
seed in the West right
Exactly.
now.
That's why they're not.
NBA.
Exactly. That's why they're not 4 for me.
They should be higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for
Oh,
me,
okay.
4 is JB and Jalen Brown and Jayson Tatum. They're
Okay.
4 for me. So like that's my 4.
You know what?
This getting good.
I understand exactly what you're saying. But here's to defend this. In terms of the talent of the guys that we're going to have above them, these guys, these duos are more talented.
Chris Paul and
look at the Suns
Jalen
team.
Brown
Look at
and
the Suns
Jayson
team.
Tatum are not that much more talented than Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They're not. They're just not. And they don't impact the game like those two. I'm just sorry.
Argue, fight.
But look at the way that the Suns team is oriented. They are one of the deeper teams in the NBA, if not the deepest team in the NBA. Yes, Chris Paul and Devin Booker are the 2 best players on their team. You take them off their team, they're not the best team in the NBA. They're not. That's obvious. However, this team is still insanely deep, and I'm looking at these two, still giving them the respect as being a top 5 duo in the league. But I'm looking at these other duos that are just better talent-wise. And even taking that into account, it's not rude for me to say that these...
Jalen Brown's better than Chris Paul?
Bro, I have Jalen Brown and Tatum underneath them.
Oh, so who'd you have ahead of him? Oh, we'll
wait,
wait.
we're gonna
We'll
get
wait.
there.
We'll get there.
Exactly.
I have
it's
Chris
hard
Paul-
to give this argument without spoiling.
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
I have Chris Paul and D-Book at 4 because although they've had a lot of success, I'm going to be honest, I was debating having them on this list altogether.
Okay, I can't agree with that.
I was.
I can't agree with that.
Because I left out Giannis and Middleton. Just a
Me
spoiler.
too.
I left
Yeah,
out
I
Giannis
did
and
too.
Middleton.
Just a spoiler. Giannis
For-
is in here, but Middleton is not that
Drew
guy.
Holiday?
So, okay, that's your duo.
Ooh,
But I'm just saying,
okay.
CP3 and D-Book, to me, I think they've accomplished a lot. But at the same time, you have to understand that the roster is loaded.
Okay.
It is.
I'm looking at it.
So,
when I pick them, I'll explain.
My third is Embiid and Harden. That's my third.
6-game wonders. Okay.
And hold up. They would have been one had they not wet the bed against Brooklyn. I dropped them down.
Do what they do.
And what the bed's kind.
Oh yeah.
What the
Okay.
bed's kind.
Okay.
I was watching the game with Drew. We was in the garage watching the game on a projector. Bro, there was a Philly fan watching the game. He was sitting in the corner. First quarter, Philly scores. Yo, bro, he's jumping up. He's screaming. He's like, yeah, let's go. By the third quarter, they score. He's like, yeah, yeah.
It was the quietest I've seen Joel and my brother Josh ever in my life.
So what's your 3?
My number 3 is Steph and Clay / Dre, whichever one you want to
It's
shake
Dre.
it.
It's Dre.
It's Dre.
It's Dre.
My 3 is Giannis and Drew Holiday. That's the duo for
Are you
me.
gonna have Steph and Dre 1, bro?
No, actually, Steph is not on my list for the first time in ever.
I'm stunned.
Yeah, Steph is actually not on my list.
Number 2 for me is KD and Kyrie.
You don't have DeMar and Zach on your list, and I'm
Absolutely
pissed
not.
the hell off. But I'll get to that in a minute.
I took them off too. You know, I could have put them over CP3 and D.
I'll get to that in a minute.
I don't have them on my list because I'm expecting DeMar not to show up in the playoffs.
Like Embiid and Harden usually do. Like, because if you're expecting that, then we should already know what they're gonna do.
Wow.
But you know,
I'll tell you what. I'm sorry. I left DeMar and Zach off my list, and I regret it.
What's number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me is Harden and Embiid.
Number 2 for me is DeMar and Zach.
Honestly, I'm not even mad.
That's number 2 for me. You guys are ridiculous.
For me, no. For me, I have KD and Kyrie because we know
you have them at 1.
I have them at 2.
Oh, okay.
We know when healthy they can beat any team in the NBA.
Okay.
As long as Brooklyn is healthy and Kyrie can play and he doesn't have that mandate over his head, Brooklyn, even as the 8th, 7th seed, I would pick them against anybody in a series.
That's fair. I respect that.
We saw them almost beat Milwaukee last year.
Don't do it. Don't tell me about the foot. I don't want to hear about his shoe size.
I was talking about they was up on Milwaukee with Kyrie.
Can I ask you a question?
Talk to me.
Tatum and DeMar, which do you lean?
Right now.
Sure.
Tatum's better. Why is this an argument?
It's not about who's better. I'll probably lean Tatum because he plays defense.
I'm taking Zach over Brown for sure.
Okay.
Tatum is the best player out of the duos.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm.
Yeah.
Jalen Brown is probably the worst of the 4.
No, he's not probably. He's the worst.
Yes. Is it that significant that you're taking Zach and DeMar however many spots over them?
2. It was 2 spots.
And is it that clean to, like, I understand that the Bulls are playing great basketball, and I understand that DeMar DeRozan has been excellent, and you know my feelings on
so
Lavine.
what are you asking me?
I'm saying, why is it so clear-cut that they're number 2 and you have the Celtics number 4? What is it that's separating it for you?
DeMar
is it
has
the balance?
DeMar has been able to do with a broken down roster all year has been nothing short of amazing. He's been breaking Wilt numbers. And Zach, the fact that Zach has been playing with 5 to 6 injuries throughout this year and is still one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA, for me, it was easy.
Number 1, I'm mad at you. You know what? I don't understand. I don't understand this about Riv.
Is one going to be Stephen Dre?
I don't understand this about Riv.
Oh my goodness.
We had a topic about the Bulls, and we had to talk about the MVP. Y'all was your chance to pick the Bulls, your hometown team, DeMar DeRozan. You didn't ride for your guy.
He's an honest man.
He wasn't my MVP.
The best duo in basketball is Steph Curry and Draymond Green. With Draymond Green, the Warriors are 28-6 this season. That's a better win percentage than the Phoenix Suns have this year.
Look at the duo of Steph and Dre last year. They missed the playoffs.
They were the 5th seed before Steph Curry got hurt.
And they
lost every single game.
They had 2 chances to get into the playoffs.
Not because Steph. Don't blame.
I'm not blaming Steph.
Blame it on Dre shooting that bullshit.
They're so good as a duo that without Dre, I don't know if the Warriors get past the second round. With Dre, they're winning the championship.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying in terms of the duo itself, I didn't have them higher on my list because they missed the playoffs last year. Regardless of what you want to say.
They got 3 championships, bro.
Okay, fair. Okay, Klay Thompson.
I don't care about that
Kevin
last
Durant.
year. They got 3 championships.
So who's your first?
My first is KD and Kyrie.
Okay, so let me just, let me get this straight. You guys, you put Steph and Dre. That's an honorable number 1. But the only reason I didn't put them is because Dre has missed a lot of time. And it's been like, even in those championships, Steph, KD, so I did it like right now. And you put the part-time worker and the other guy as the number 1 duo in the league. And they're a playing team. Okay. For me, the best duo in the league, the best duo that's been the best duo in this NBA season right now is CP3 and Devin Booker. They've been the best duo in the NBA. I swear to God.
Not better than Draymond.
Wait,
and Steph.
I thought you had Giannis. You said you didn't have Giannis.
No, Giannis and Drew was 3.
Ah, okay.
I would have put the Joker and whoever else if I wanted to pick, but they're not higher up in the seating. But I should have.
Barton?
Yeah, I should have just threw him in there. But yeah, for me, CP3 and Devin Booker have been one of the clutchest duos in the NBA. They have the best record by like 8 games in the NBA. Like, and this is coming off a year they just made the finals and they were the number 2 seed last year. Like, I look at it as like Devin Booker has the numbers, Chris Paul has the impact. What's the problem? They've been those guys for me this year. So I have to put them number 1.
I don't disagree with any logic that you said. What you said is 100% sound. I'm looking at it in this sense. KD, when he's on the court playing basketball, is arguably the best player in the world. Kyrie Irving is a 50, 40, 90 player who can give you 30 on any given night. He is one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled players in the NBA. You're 100% right. He's a part-time player.
Speculation.
In terms of what? The most skilled player?
No, in terms of your number one list is primed on if KD actually is healthy and
Correct.
if Kyrie is actually a full-time player. My number one is primed on what they've done last year.
Let's take it easy, though, because CP3, his injury history, can you fully bank on him?
That's 100%.
So
Same thing with Kyrie, though.
Oh, I agree with you.
So we can only go with what we've seen. And what we've seen is a number 2 seed, a number 1 seed, one guy who's actually, CP3, as much as we say he may not deserve it, he was your MVP pick.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, a guy who's in the MVP race. Also, Devin Booker's also in the top 10 MVP. I'm looking at 2 guys in the top 10 in the MVP race. They have the number 1 record in the league. They're the clutchest duo in the league.
Is Devin in the MVP race?
He's like 8 or 9.
He should be.
Okay.
He's like 8
All
or
right.
9. If he's not, he just dropped out.
Okay.
But he was in there. So, I don't think, KD and Kyrie, we're talking about best talented duo. Yeah, of course, KD and Kyrie won. You could throw Harden and Embiid. I didn't put Harden and Embiid because they didn't play enough games. They would have been 1 for me, but they haven't played enough games. So I'm looking at the teams top of the league. Look at DeMar and Zach. They've been in the top of the league. They've been missing all the guys. Look at Giannis and Drew. They just complement each other so much. Drew's that top-notch perimeter defender. Giannis is that rim protector. And plus, Drew is extremely clutch. And then obviously JB and JT. Those two-way players, Jayson Tatum's that offensive machine, and they picked it up. And then I put KD and Kyrie because of respect, because of talent. They are, when healthy, the most talented. But these other 4 duos have just put in so much track record. I should have put Steph and Dre at 5, honestly. That's what I should have done.
They missed your list.
They
That's
did miss
disrespectful.
It is a bit disrespectful.
I don't dislike your list by any means. I just think that DeMar and Zach are a little bit too high.
Who would you put? You didn't have them on your list.
I understand.
Steph and Dre are clear of Lavine and DeMar.
That's fair to say.
And you didn't have Joel Embiid and James Harden.
I just explained why
I understand, but you still, again, you got to project. You have to project. That's what we're doing.
I shouldn't have to project.
Project in the sense of what we're
so
expecting
we
them to
named
do.
our list. So Pierre, which list did you have most problems with? You didn't agree with?
A little bit of all y'all's. I think the Bulls were too high. I do agree with that. The Bulls were high.
Disrespectful.
Also, yeah, I agree. I think you do have to project with the Philadelphia 76ers. I agree. I said that when we did it, it's tough because I didn't like the teams that they played, but we do have to project that they are going to be somewhat superior on a consistent basis. I agree with bro. I think y'all had the Phoenix Suns a little low.
Disrespectful.
You know what I mean? Dre and Steph being number 1, arguable. I don't know. I can respect it. I think that was it though. We're talking about the top 5 though, so we just
really can't go wrong.
Shit.
Yeah, that's facts.
You know what I mean? We just nitpicking that shit. I like the Nets though. I'll take the Nets even with Kyrie being part-time. You know what I mean? I think that duo is crazy because you have to consider what they can do, what they have done. And even at a half of Kyrie, I'm taking that over a lot of the guys that we named. I was just distracted because I was so happy that y'all all agreed that y'all would take Zach Lavine over Jaylen Brown.
Oh, for sure. Zach
I said that on
one
Twitter.
Of my favorite players.
Somebody said Jaylen Brown. Who said that?
Twitter.
No, I said it on Twitter and people was just going crazy.
Was it recent or was it a while ago?
Definitely wasn't recent. It was maybe last year.
Oh, you said it early.
Just look at it. Look at it like
I've been a Zach Lavine guy before he was in the league. You know what I mean?
That's cool. I mean, look at it at face value. Better scorer, better efficiency. Jaylen Brown's maybe the better defender.
No, he is the better defender.
It's not
the
like
argument that a lot of people gave is just that he plays with Tatum. That's what they were saying.
Zach plays with DeMar.
No, this is before he played with DeMar.
Okay.
I don't understand that though.
No, it's because
in terms of what Jayson Tatum elevating him.
No, they feel like Jaylen Brown would be better if he wasn't under Jayson Tatum. Like if he had his own team, he would be what Zach Lavine basically is.
I understand.
There's not many guys that can be as efficient as Zach.
No,
even Jaylen Brown. I don't in the shots Zach take aren't easy shots. He takes contested shots. He's just so efficient.
He's a beast.
He's different.
He's a beast.
So I mean, Jaylen Brown's he's great and his defense is It's good. It's been a little bit. We're starting to overrate it just a little bit too much.
Who's
Jalen Brown's just a little bit too much. We're starting to overrate his defense.
Can't
just a little
agree.
bit
Oh,
too
you
much.
just said he's the best freaking Robin in the league.
Which is why I said I can't agree.
So he's
The
not,
best Robin in history.
All right, fine. Listen, that's strong. I should have definitely used.
You've been
better
trying
wording.
to push that
I
agenda
know, I
for
have.
like 3 weeks, bro.
But I should have used better wording. He's the most complete Robin because that's my initial. That's initially what I said.
But he's not, because I said Paul George and you said I was
and then
right.
I agreed. I shook your hand.
So you're wrong.
I am. I admit it. I was wrong there.
Pierre, we've been having this debate for a while. We've had it in the off season. This is the last question I'll ask you before you go. I want you to rank these shooting guards in order. Zach
I was
Lavine.
just about to ask y'all this, but come on.
Zach Lavine, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker.
Bradley Beal.
Am I missing somebody? Bradley Beal?
But that's the question. That's really the big.
Oh,
three.
so we're just deading.
Lavine, Mitchell, and
Get
Book.
him out of here.
All right,
Well,
so
we know Beal. At least Beal for me is
He's
last.
4. He's 4.
he might not be 4 for me. I like SGA, but that's just me being biased. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So between Zach, Donovan, and Mitchell, rank them 1 to 3.
This is gonna break my heart to say. Okay. Devin Booker is number 1.
What?
Are you gonna put Lavine last?
Number 2 is Donovan Mitchell.
I knew it.
I got a question.
And number 3, or number 2. I think Donovan Mitchell and Zach are like that. But just to answer your question, I guess Zach is 3. But I think the main thing for me is that Devin Booker, as of right now, is a superior over both of them. I've been over the last few years,
That's strong.
Devin Booker over Donovan Mitchell. Motherfuckers, y'all have me so
I don't
fucked up
disagree.
if y'all think Donovan Mitchell can touch Devin Booker in any aspect
Oh,
of
yeah.
the game.
Hold on, Jordan.
And the only thing that's holding Zach Lavine back is that we haven't seen him in the playoffs. So I'm giving Donovan Mitchell that tad bit of respect. But for me, they right there. And if Zach Lavine do what I know he can do, then Donovan Mitchell, count your days as number 2. But
I
I'm
have a
giving him
question
the
for you.
respect.
But before Riv goes,
Oh, yeah, because I'm finna go.
does Donovan Mitchell's height have anything to do with it?
No, it used to, but not no more. It used to.
Till you
Back when
see
he
him do some heroic things, then you was like, nah, the height don't even mean nothing to me.
Yeah, I gotta give him his respect.
Because to me it does. Like I see a 6'1" shooting guard.
This guy's heightest. It's crazy.
No, I know that it's weird because I'm short too. No, Donovan Mitchell is a great player, and in the playoffs he plays at a superstar level. But for me, when I'm like, okay, if I want to take one of these guys, I think Lavine, Book can give me what Mitchell gives me offensively. And they're like 5 inches taller. Like I think I just
right?
gotta go with those guys. But Mitchell, I would put Mitchell second, and I'd put Book 1.
We gotta wait till we see what Zach Lavine does in the playoffs. We saw what Devin did. Y'all was not y'all specifically, but a lot of people was talking empty stats. I told motherfuckers for years that don't exist.
Stupid.
That's not a real thing. That's some
and-
social media shit.
And P, what's crazy is that you saying Devin Booker over Zach Lavine. We asked this question earlier in the year on TikTok. Everybody, the majority of people think Lavine is 1. And I don't understand why, because he hasn't proven it yet. Like I understand people are projecting.
This is where I get involved.
D Book in most of these lists comes last to a lot of people.
Yeah, Zach Lavine's been one of my favorite players for years now. But and it don't hurt me to say because I like Devin Booker too. Devin Booker has shown us that he does what he does. A lot of people talk that playoff shit, and now we have the playoff thing, and Devin Booker checked off all the boxes in his first playoff run.
Yeah.
First. Even in a bubble, he was putting them motherfuckers, that bum-ass Suns team on his back.
tweaking.
Yeah, that sounds...
And now, all I'm saying is we have to wait to see what Zach does.
Hey, Pee-wee.
What's up?
I mean, that sounds all great and good and dandy and all that. You said Donovan was 2. I think I'm the only guy at this table that probably has Donovan at 1. I need to understand, why do you think, not only did you think Devin Booker was better, you said superior. I need to understand why you said that.
What do you think Donovan Mitchell does better than Devin Booker?
Well, I think if you, like, comparing these 3 guards, right, I think at this point you're splitting hairs because they're all dynamic offensive players.
I disagree. I don't think you're splitting hairs. I think they're close in some categories, and then there's things that Devin Booker does tremendously better than Donovan Mitchell.
Tremendously better?
Yes.
His post game's better than his. Easily.
Post game is better.
I think defensively he's better. I think on the defensive end he's better.
His post game is better. So that just off of that, you can play him in a lot of different ways in your offense.
Agreed.
That doesn't limit him like Donovan Mitchell. Number two, he's a way better. It's not even close playmaker.
Agreed.
Way better playmaker, which opens up your game in a pick and roll. Just those two things make him more dynamic. And you can give me the more dynamic player. And in any given time, I want the more dynamic player. And when we talk about being stopped, I haven't seen people stop Devin Booker like I've seen teams stop Donovan Mitchell in the past, which is why I used to have a thing with his height. It's been a while since I've seen him get stopped the way he did earlier in those playoff runs. That I felt like it was way more just because of his size, certain passes. It's hard for him to be the playmaker that the other guys can be, and Zach Lavine has potential be, because he is smaller. So if we're blitzing and we're hard hedging a pick and roll, he has to leave his feet to make a pass to the opposite corner to a Bogdanovich. That's a tougher play to make than a Devin Booker. And because Devin Booker has better pace, better size, he's shooting over guys, the turnaround fade. I'm going with Devin Booker. Donovan Mitchell is a good basketball player, but I just don't think he can fuck with Devin Booker, personally.
And another thing, why can't we project that Zach Lavine's going to be that guy in the playoffs? Like, why? Because
these guys, because we can project it. Nobody's projecting that Zach Lavine is going to be a 7-point scorer, but these guys have they went elite. I can't project that he's going to have a better playoff run than Devin Booker had last year, or the shit that Donovan Mitchell did.
I know what you're saying.
You know, Donovan Mitchell goes to superstar level.
For sure.
Projecting that Zach Lavine is going to go to their heights, that's a tough thing to project. We could project that he's going to be good, but them motherfuckers was great. Can you 1,000% sure tell me that you're projecting Zach Lavine in his first playoff appearance this year, he's going to be at that level that we seen those two guys?
That's fair.
I don't think you could.
Fair enough.
So ain't nothing wrong with being. Why we have to have all the answers right now in the basketball world? There's nothing fine. There's nothing wrong with just waiting to see.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong.
You know.
And if you want to project and make the prediction, go ahead. But you also live with the fact that when it don't happen, that it was you got to be bold enough to say that shit was wild.
Lavine at least has backed it up night in, night out, that he is right there in the conversation with those guys. And that's the conversation in the regular season. Which is fine. A 50, 40, 85 type of player gets it translates to the playoffs. You don't just fall. A 50, 40, 85 translates.
But the conversation gets different when you're talking playoffs, because the playoffs take guards to a different level.
And another thing that we haven't spoken about, we're all projecting that DeMar is going to be, or we're hoping that DeMar is going to elevate his play in the playoffs.
I think he'll elevate.
I think so too. Now, let's say, God forbid, he doesn't. It's going to be on Lavine's shoulders. He's going to have to shoulder.
I mean, it's going to be on his shoulders whether DeMar shows up or not.
Yes, but it'll be heightened more if DeMar is like DeMar has been in the past, which I don't even think has been that bad, really.
I think right now we can kind of project Zach Lavine's not going to be elite status in the playoffs just because he's been dealing with a lot of nagging injuries.
I don't know, bro. He got Mamba mentality. He's one of those dudes, man.
He's a beast.
I just can't guarantee it. I can project that he's gonna be good, but I can't project greatness. I think the Bulls do need to rely on him in the playoffs, though. I think he's better suited for the playoffs than DeMar DeRozan. I think that's why I don't think DeMar DeRozan struggles or shortcomings is because he's not a good basketball player. I think playoff basketball is different. It's a lot easier to take away the mid ranges, and we've seen teams
need a 3-level scorer.
And,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So yeah, Zach Lavine is a much more dynamic scorer. DeMar DeRozan is having a hell of a year, but DeMar isn't. He don't have the bag that Zach got, man. Zach is a 3-level scorer, can dunk on you. He fade away fucking threes in the clutch,
he's
off
ridiculous.
the dribble, off the catch. So
Rivers,
and I think those things are just obvious. Yeah, if DeMar DeRozan ain't scoring the basketball how he usually does, yeah, Zach Lavine has to do more.
Did you want to give a rebuttal to the D?
Oh no, Mitchell thing? I didn't disagree with nothing he said. I ain't gonna lie, he got it. Everything was like
these are the guys because they're younger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't acknowledge Bradley Beal.
That's y'all. I'm not one of those guys that I don't care about what you say. That ain't gonna make me riled up.
No, like he's just like, because we already kind of know what he is, and we don't just like, these three guys are like
so what
on
other
a different
guys,
level. We feel like,
did he mention Brad? Is that what he's saying? Why didn't we mention?
No,
Beal?
I would just keep. No. I like Paul George.
You think he's a 2 guard?
Is Paul George a shooting guard?
I think he plays at tweener.
Yeah,
but in the playoffs, I don't, because he played the 5, the 4, the 3.
Last year specifically, when they were at full health, they brought in Marcus Morris, who started to be the 4 that pushed Kawhi to 3, PG to 2. That's all.
So who are your best shooting guards in the league then? You're just saying we have to mention Paul George. You want to say?
Paul
so where
George
would you put PG? Because I would put him at 1 if we classify him as 2 guards.
As of right now, 1 for sure. But my man's put him at 1 to start the season, and we was clowning him because at Harden seemed like he had this separation. But
Harden at this point in time also is, I feel like he's a 1.
So then Kyrie would be a 2.
I would take Paul George over Kyrie.
I would too.
I would take
just for the all-around game.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you have to. You're Jalen Brown.
That's why I'm saying yes. I agree.
Pierre, we want to thank you for being on the show and chopping it up with us. It was a great time. We know that it was a little bit too long. I messaged you on Twitter, and I was like, we usually do like 2 to 3 hour shows.
Yeah, man, y'all crazy. I don't even do that for my own damn show, man. It's my own day.
What's the longest you guys have recorded?
It's always been less than 2 hours, unless we did like a live show. You know what I mean? Like an eventful show, Vegas, New York type of thing. But I don't even think we've ever done like a 2-hour show full on. And if we do, it's because we talk about non-basketball topics in the last part. But basketball wise, we keep it short and sweet.
And we were talking about it. We're thinking about doing 1.5-hour episodes, but we split it into 2 episodes in a week, which makes sense. We still get the same amount of content out, but now I guess more content out, but less topics per show. But
y'all do one long episode a week?
We do 2. We record a football episode and then a basketball episode. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like we try. Like I come in here like, yo, bro, let's try to make it 2 hours and 30 minutes.
No, we do.
Next thing I look at the clock, I'm like, holy shit!
Sometimes
it's 3
we argue,
hours.
we get into it, it get heated, it goes on 40 minutes. You know how it go.
No, yeah, it is a tough thing to do. I'm a person, I talk too much, I feel like sometimes, but it is important just because it's like I see people do 3-hour podcast. I don't watch that shit. I don't watch that shit. I like the Joe Budden podcast, and I go and his shit be like 4 hours. I ain't watching that shit as much as I like the podcast. But now people are chopping up certain spots, or they putting the time stamps and things like that. So you know what I mean. But yeah, I think definitely try to chop it up. Was what we did. I'm not gonna tell y'all what to do. Y'all shit was good. Y'all wasn't on here talking no bullshit. So 3 hours could work, as long as it ain't no bullshit. I just feel like some people be on there just talking about random shit and arguing about shit. These were some good conversations. I like them.
Thank you, bro.
I'm not even mad. What y'all about to talk about next?
We're gonna talk about this week in the NBA. Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, how they've been playing, and revisiting the Pacers and Kings trade.
Come on, I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He really waited to see what was going on. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay.
He's real. He scouted the talent. He said, nah, these guys got it.
He went to a scouting report.
College basketball hoops fans, join the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still join the college hoops action with DraftKings Pools. Everyone can play free pools all March long for a shot at a share over $250,000 in prizes. Simply join a pool and answer like who will make it to the next round and who will hit the most 3-pointers, then track your results. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code TBPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, this week in the NBA. So this is basically a segment where we highlight something that happened this past week in the NBA that we think is cool, and we just want the audience to, be mindful of. So my this week in the NBA, I have 2, but I'm just going to mention one because I don't want,
Thanks,
I don't want to leave you guys hanging.
Thanks.
The one is I just want to shout out this rookie class and how they've been playing. I feel like everybody in the rookie class, Josh Giddey's been hurt, but I'm a huge Josh Giddey guy. Scotty Barnes just had a tremendous night. Cade and Jalen, they're stepping it up right now.
Say his name.
Jonathan Kuminga is playing
Say
well.
His name, bro.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about, bro.
Who?
Io, bro.
Oh, Io. Okay, yeah.
Big facts.
And, we've had segments on this podcast before highlighting the role players like Herb Jones. The Herb Jones is the Cam Thomases, the Trey Mans, the Ios. But I just think this rookie class is phenomenal. And I feel like we're getting to a point where we say this every year. Because I felt like last year I was saying something similar about the rookie class. But I feel like this year,
this one's crazy.
It's outdoing last year, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, because it's like this rookie class, like it's not just talented with star power, but it's so deep with really, really good players. Like,
and I feel like most of these players went to the right situation. Just like you were talking about, P, like how situation is everything. These players went to the right situation. Like I could imagine Jonathan Kuminga on the Magic, but he's developing far better with Golden State and what they have him doing. We just saw Moses Moody drop 30 the other night. And before the draft, you and I, Riv, were like, Moses Moody is more NBA ready and probably should get minutes over Kuminga right away.
Yep.
But because Golden State has so many guards, he hasn't had the opportunity.
But when he does.
But he's a guy that is a plug-and-play player like right away, and he just hasn't had the opportunity yet.
So for me, this week in the NBA is really specifically geared towards the Chicago Bulls fans. So shout out to them.
Tough.
Shout out to us. But Alex Caruso's back. And when he came back, what we were missing was that defense, because the way our defense is structured, we put a lot of pressure on our perimeter guys to stop guys at the perimeter. So Vooch doesn't have to take a lot of that work. And that really has helped us in the beginning of the year when they were healthy. When those guys went down, it really put a lot of pressure on Vooch to become a better rim protector. And at this point in his career, he just can't do that. He's not that good in that. And Tristan Thompson coming in really helped us a little bit. But now Caruso's back. Garland had a tough night between Caruso and Io. He had 4 steals, 11 points. And he just looked really good and really healthy. So shout out to him. Our defense is coming back. We're getting healthy. And we're getting ready to make that real stretch.
When am I getting that apology?
I apologize, bro.
Yeah?
Well, you should you should get a lot of apologies because your team didn't re-sign him. So I do apologize, bro.
That hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts. I definitely
thank you
need
though
apologies
for Caruso.
That. You're welcome.
Thank you.
This week in the NBA, we witnessed one of the worst ass beatings from the Nets to the 76ers in Wells Fargo Center. James Harden was absolutely miserable, and it was hard to watch. 3 for 17. His only shots being 3-pointers. I believe he was 3 for 6, so that's a positive shot, 50% from the 3-point range. However, without Ben Simmons, KD and Kyrie went into Wells Fargo, and they absolutely put on a show. And I'm watching the game, and it got to a point where I was kind of disgusted watching the 76ers play because it was such a sloppy, ugly type of offense that they were running. It was basically give the ball to Embiid in the post. If he doesn't get fouled, we're kind of screwed. And then the Nets are going back on offense, and they're actually running a nice, fluid offense. It's sure there's a mix of isolation, but there's ball movement involved. They have different pieces touching the basketball. Seth Curry was getting going. He really shined in his return to Philly. He had to put on a performance, especially in front of his father-in-law and the team that cut him like he was a sack of shit, truthfully. He played out of his mind.
It was for James Harden, no. Come on.
Which is fine, but at the same time, Thibault was
they didn't give him up for nothing.
Thibault was in the conversation. They said, we need to keep Thibault, right? Thibault can go. He's getting to a point where I'm looking at him and he's overrated. His offense, really, they looked at Ben like he was the problem because Ben wanted to score more.
He's literally Thibault. Ben Simmons, they're like the same guy.
Except he has offensive. He can do something on the offensive side where he actually can facilitate the basketball. What's Thibault doing for you offensively except chilling in a corner doing nothing?
Bro,
he's cutting.
I'm going to be honest with you, bro.
And even if that, what is he doing?
I'm not excited about a guy who sets a screen and gets a handoff to another guy and they hit a 3. That's not a great assist to me. I'm
really,
just going to be
Ben's
honest
just
with you.
doing handoff passes now.
It's not what he does. It's a lot of what he does,
I'm
bro.
glad you're saying that now. I'm glad you're saying that now
you
because when
mentioned-
Ben comes, hold on, give me one sec. Because when Ben comes back, and Ben's actually facilitating nicely for KD and Kyrie.
You don't need to facilitate to KD and Kyrie.
That's what's going to happen when he gets incorporated into the offense.
Incorporate Ben Simmons into offense. Okay.
Am I saying anything incorrect here? You have to.
Listen, when they're rolling out Ben Simmons lineup and he's not taking shots and Kevin Durant and Kyrie are getting double teamed again, I really hope when the pressure's on Ben, he doesn't fold again.
Can you really double team KD and Kyrie in that offense? You can't.
You can leave off Ben Simmons.
I agree with that 100%. But then let's be real. If they find a different way to utilize Ben Simmons, as in play him down low.
What is Steve? Never mind. Okay.
All right, I understand what you're saying. Steve Nash is not a great coach, but at the same time, you still need to put respect on KD and Kyrie's game and their knowledge of the game.
No, of course, but I watched Ben Simmons not take advantage of Trae Young's mismatches, bro. I don't see.
He was definitely not in the right headspace. I'm not going to disagree with you. He definitely should have been way more aggressive.
We'll see, though.
Well, you mentioned the Sixers loss, so you just wanted to mention that.
I wanted to.
I thought you was going to mention LeBron.
Oh, for the 50
The
points?
yeah.
I could have done that, but this was more. LeBron's going to lead the league in scoring. Like that's something that I'm looking at, and I do believe. He said it years ago. If I wanted to lead the league in scoring, I could do it. There's not much going on for the Lakers right now. This is what LeBron has to strive for. This would be a W for him, and you take that. And it's true. If LeBron wanted to lead the league in scoring every single season, he could have. But that's not his game.
Okay.
Pierre, is there something you saw this week in the NBA that caught your eye?
Yeah, man, the scoring outputs. We had 40 plus, like almost 15 times. LeBron 56. That was on my B-Day, so shout out LeBron.
Hey, happy
Tatum
birthday to
came
you,
with
bro.
Happy birthday.
54. Appreciate it. Embiid had a 40-pointer. Jokic had 40. Giannis had 40. Middleton had 40. Fox had 40. Julius Randle had 40. Somebody else just had 40. Tatum had 40 again.
Clarkson had 40.
It was crazy.
Yo, Clarkson did have 40.
Last night, right?
Yeah, Clarkson had 40.
Clarkson, yeah, there you go. Clarkson. Kyrie had 50 against Charlotte.
Facts.
It was
Damn.
it's a lot of buckets this past week.
De'Aaron
So
Fox had 40 yesterday, too.
Also, that's
Clay
twice
had-
for him in a
Clay
week.
had
Okay.
38, something like that.
Clay did have 38 last night.
Yeah, a lot of guys. That was another thing. A lot of guys had 38. Clay, Ingram had 38. So it's been a lot of buckets this past week, man. I don't know if that's the most 40 or more point games we've ever had in a week span, but I'm waiting for somebody to fact check that.
Now, P,
StatMuse has to fact check.
P, let me ask you a question. Do you give these guys the credit for being great offensive players, or does it speak to the level of defense that's played in the NBA?
The level of defense.
I agree.
What's your favorite era of basketball?
The mid 2000s, my era, like Kobe, McGrady, Baron Davis, Steve Francis, Allen Iverson, the emergence of point guards not being John Stockton type guys, where like we have athletic scoring guards at the point guard position,
Gilbert Arenas
and then
stuff.
we had legitimate bucket getters. Like guys like Ray Allen. We think of Ray Allen as a specialist, but like when I was growing up, he was an actual bucket getter for Milwaukee and then Seattle.
Yep.
Steve Francis, you know what I mean?
Rashard
Darren
Lewis.
Williams, early Derrick Rose, Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh with Toronto. Like guys, Melo. That guys was really out here.
I'm gonna let
Really,
you off the
really
hook for
getting-
not saying LeBron.
Oh, my.
I'm gonna. But P, I do have a question.
LeBron's a given, man.
Who's your favorite?
LeBron is right here. Much love to LeBron, man.
Is that him in Miami? That's tough.
No, that's rookie LeBron.
Oh, him in the Cavaliers. That's tough,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's Kobe?
That's the Diesel.
Oh, okay.
Who's your favorite ball player?
Penny Hardaway, Lil Penny.
He's your favorite ball player ever.
Him and Kobe. Yep, those are my
That's
guys.
tough.
I think my favorite had to be Brandon Roy.
That's a nice one. I
All
like
time?
Brandon Roy when he played.
Probably,
He's from that mid 2000s era.
probably
Yeah.
Steph or Paul George for me.
That's my favorite era of basketball too. Like I started watching basketball, Kobe's second championship, the second back-to-back when he beat Boston in Game 7. That was like my first moment watching basketball, just like falling in love with the sport. So like my favorite eras between there. It's a shame that LeBron had to run most of it. I'll be honest. I mean, oh my god.
I liked it. It was
Not a
like
shame.
As a Knicks fan, I didn't. Like I kind of knew like once we got to the playoffs, like,
Bro,
Miami was gonna
we
be-
lost to the Heat every single year, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it was
for
every
sure.
year,
Great
bro.
times.
4-1, 4-0, 4-1. It's like,
Take me
damn.
back.
We win the first game, lose 4 straight every time. Same way.
So you mentioned that LeBron had 40 on your birthday. So what date is your birthday?
March 5th. He had 50 that day.
Yeah,
56.
Wow.
56 is career high.
Yeah, happy belated
Not career
birthday,
high, I'm
bro.
sorry.
I didn't even put the
Thank you,
clap track
appreciate
for
it.
that. So on to the next topic. I mentioned some rookies, but now let's go in depth on these two guys. Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, number 1 and number 2 overall picks. They started the season kind of rough. You know, Cade Cunningham was coming from an injury. He was inefficient. So was Jalen Green. But since the All-Star break, both players have been really great. Cade Cunningham in 9 games is averaging 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 44% from the field and 30% from 3. Jalen Green has played the same amount of games. He's averaging 21 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 35% from 3. The Rockets are still losing, but the Pistons are 5-4 in that stretch with wins over Cleveland, Charlotte, Toronto, Atlanta.
They beat Boston.
Yeah, I know, Riv, you're You're a big Cade fan. You've been a big Cade fan for a while. So what have you seen that like has been the switch in Cade and why he's been playing so much better?
I'm drooling. I'm just be honest with you. I'm like, I'm so excited. like I've been
drooling. What a way to start a monologue.
I've been waiting for this Cade to come out because I know people were bashing on him early in the season. Oh, this guy's not that good. You know, somebody, I think, what's his name? He's a Detroit legend. I don't know. He's a bum though. It doesn't really matter. But he said, I don't think Cade can be the guy. And I'm just like, bro, how can you say that of like 30 games? Nonetheless, Cade's just been more efficient. He looks more confident. He's been the go-to scorer for them. I mean, last game in Boston on the road, they were damn near putting him to sleep. They was putting so much pressure on him because they wanted him to do so much. But he's been that guy for them as a playmaker, as a scorer. The shooting ability is starting to show. The moves, I think, like one of his next progressions is going to be to work on his handles, tighten them up a little bit, and work on go-to moves in the post in one-on-one. But I think nonetheless, like his rookie year has been nothing short of spectacular. He's been amazing for that team. That leadership is starting to show in the locker room. He's a great leader for them. He's definitely, and I'm glad they finally stopped really putting the ball in Killian Hayes' hands. I'm so glad. It's time.
He's bad.
At this point, Corey Joseph is better than him, and I'm being dead serious. Like it's not even funny. Like
No, it is funny.
And like I think like the next thing like Cade, and shout out to Sadiq Bey too. He's been amazing too. I think those are the two guys.
Marvin Bagley's been playing pretty well.
He's been really good. So I think next steps should be Jeremy Grant should be gone, and they should really focus on this young core. Killian Hayes, they should try to release him or something. For Jalen Green though, I feel like Joel should get most of the credit for this. You know, he hit it right. He hit the nail right on the head. He said he's gonna have an Anthony Edwards like second year, and it's not the same.
I was gonna say,
but you can
there.
see the progression. You can see Jalen Green starting to fully. And for scorers, it takes a little bit of time. Like for new scorers in the NBA, it takes a little bit of time for that 1-2 to get going in the NBA. Now Jalen Green has his 1-2 move. Now everything's starting to set in place. He's starting to become a little bit more efficient. He just needs to bulk up, but nonetheless, the finishing has been better. He's been really good, and I think for that we got to give these two guys props because these are the two rookies that are really struggling the most early on in the year, and they were the number 1 and the number 2 pick. So I think for them being this great right now, like obviously Houston isn't winning, and I like listen, it's life, they're not that good, but for Detroit, I think this is a good sign and direction. Dwayne Casey is going to be spectacular for them, and both of these rookies should deserve a lot of credit. Cade jumped to number 2 in the Rookie of the Year ladder too. He might get 1, and I can't wait.
I think Scott is going to get that 1 spot. He's been playing great.
You're saying Mobley's done?
No, Mobley's 1 right now.
Mobley's not done, but I think Scotty's been playing better.
Cavs have been losing some games since Jared Allen's
They're 8 of it.
The Hall of Fame Pistons player was Dave Bing.
Thank you.
He played in the 70s for them.
Careless.
Shout out to Dave Bing. That was a dumbass thing to say though, man. Yeah. I didn't even know he said that.
And especially with the fact that Cade came into the season hurt. When he first started playing, it was really him getting the rust out. Didn't have a summer league, didn't have a training camp, didn't have any of that. He came in and was very raw. So to try and put out a statement like that before he could really,
he said that he was on a game, like he was live talking on the game. He said that I think in the midst of like the third quarter.
He said Cade Cunningham is an all-star caliber player, but not a player you can build a team around. That's what he said.
Disgusting take.
Regardless,
nobody can even know that yet.
Exactly. It's year 1. He's on a Pistons team that's not good, really. It's not good.
I think they probably have the worst talent in the league. Orlando is worse than them as a team, but I think Orlando has better young
Houston
talent.
has more talent than them too.
Yeah, you think so?
I think young talent. Yeah, I think so.
Ooh. I guess that's close,
bro. They're playing guys like Corey Joseph. I swear to God, bro, it's not entertaining to watch. Saban Lee, he's really not that good.
Or the young players on the Pistons. You got Cade. You have Sadiq Bey,
Marvin Bagley. Kelly Olynyk isn't young.
Hey, nah, the Pistons ain't got the worst talent.
Who got the rest?
You look at the team.
Damian Lillard ain't playing.
Oh,
the Blazers is fucking bro.
Oh yeah,
well, they're not good. Yeah. They're not good. Yeah, I like Anthony Simons a lot.
I actually looked at their roster on 2K this morning. No, yesterday morning. They're really bad.
Trendon Watford had 20 yesterday.
Right, and I like Trendon at LSU.
Yeah,
y'all watch college basketball?
Who? Rev is a big college hoops guy. I watch it after
everybody
like the
don't.
season's
Look, they
over.
saying they don't.
I'm cooked out though. Syracuse is my team, so I'm cooked out this year. It ain't looking too good.
How the hell is Syracuse your team?
We're from Jersey.
MCW.
Oh, okay.
MCW. And then Tyler Ennis put me really now. I was really like, yup, this is my team.
Oh my gosh, I thought Tyler Ennis was gonna be that boy.
Me too. And he failed me again. A lot of guys have failed me. Tyler
I
Ennis.
used to watch.
They had a nasty backcourt when he was in high school. Tyler Ennis and Isaiah Briscoe, they was disgusting.
Same
I used
bench.
to watch his Peach Jam highlights, bro.
Bro, he was
all
so
the time.
like, bro, he failed me. Trayvon Duvall failed me. It's just,
Yeah, Trayvon Duvall, yeah.
I get stressed out sometimes. These guys be failing me, man.
A lot of
It's all right,
Isaiah
man.
Briscoe, I thought was gonna be better.
Me
Isaiah
too.
Briscoe.
Me too. Trayvon Duvall shouldn't have went to Duke. He should have went to like Seton Hall.
He should have went to like a point or Villanova maybe, like not.
I don't know. Villanova, the way they did JQ.
Well, with Trey, he played defense, so that's why I thought at Villanova he can be like really good, and he's a point guard. You know what I'm saying? He don't really care for scoring.
I'm really shocked that he ain't really.
He should have stayed a year. He should have stayed one more year. Weirdo.
For sure.
What's your college basketball team?
I don't really have one. When I was younger, I used to attach myself to different. I liked Arizona growing up. I liked Duke. That's just like young, they're nice type shit. I root for Memphis because Penny coaches them, but I don't really have a team. I watch it to see the next wave of talent. I'm just a basketball guy, so I'd like to see
Memphis
high school,
might win
college,
the
who's
tournament.
The next guys coming in.
Really? They turned it around?
Memphis might win the conference tournament, and then they'll get in, and they suck. That's
They
hilarious.
play today. They play shortly.
I was just about to ask you, what's your opinion on Penny as a coach?
Could be better.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's terrible. But I think he could be better.
What do you think
I
about
think he has one of the most important things, which is like the swag. I think that's an important thing.
Definitely.
To bring that swag when people throw around that word culture. He's swag. He got the swag. He's hip to what it is, and that's why he gets the players. But I do think it's time for him to start doing something with the players.
I know what you mean. That's like Dion.
Do you think that Amani
Jackson?
Exactly.
Do you think Amani Bates is the level of prospect that people hyped him up to be?
No.
And Penny is the one that's developing him?
That's crazy.
Easy.
Imani Bates is not what people put him up to be.
He's not that good.
Baby KD was
very off. Very off.
I'm not a fan of players who have their situations controlled. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
For me, when I look at guys and I'm evaluating prospects in any level, it's about what you can do when it's not all about you. Because the NBA is the best of the best. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic. These are different names. So how can you, Imani Bates, affect the game if you get drafted and you go to a situation where it ain't all about you? And that's why I do like the things you said earlier about Jaylen Brown, because I do think those things are important to be able to play next to Jayson Tatum and still be a complete effective player. Zach Lavine, to be able to coexist and be able to say, DeMar, come rock with me in Chicago. Devin Booker to have had success when he was doing a point guard thing, but then to say, Chris Paul, you come and I'll sacrifice my numbers, but I'll still be effective. Those things don't get talked about. And in the high school thing, we look at who's averaging 39 and nobody can guard them. But 9 times out of 10, those guys come to teams and they're there to kind of coexist or complement a player. And Imani Bates doesn't have complementary skills. It has to be all about him for him to succeed. And I don't really envision him going to a team. Even now, if he was in this draft class and he was the number 1 pick, let's just say, I don't think he would be, but let's just make this crazy situation. If he goes to the Pistons, he's now there with Cade Cunningham. The Pistons aren't even his team. He goes to the Rockets, he's there with Jalen Green. The NBA is so talented where you have to coexist with somebody and be able to do things other than give me the ball and move. That's just some high school shit. And I hate that they even are still developing players that way. If I was developing and training players, it would be to have a skill set that could go either way, like a Jaylen Brown. I think he's a good name to continue to use for wings, where it's like, if you give me the situation and I'm by myself, I'm gonna do my thing. But if I'm playing with somebody else, I still can be effective. And I think that goes to the conversation when you talked about the draft class. I think a lot more people are teaching these kids at the college level that if you want to have a long career, be a role player, because 95% of the NBA is being a role player. And I think when you look at Quentin Grimes coming in, being effective, you look at Trey Murphy, who hasn't had the best start, but he just recently had an incredible game. Chris Duarte, a lot of guys are coming in, Zaire Williams, and they're being complimentary role players, because that 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to end up being.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that's an excellent point right there. And how, because in college, I think it holds more value when you see a player play under different roles, because then you can project them into the NBA in different ways.
Yep.
You know, you can be like, okay, we know he can be a star if we really want him to be that, but he also could be a spot-up shooter or just a lockdown defender. So I think you made a lot of excellent points. I'm actually curious about something about your fandom. You tell me you're a Knicks fan, you're a Cowboys fan.
Yep.
Where?
And I'm a Chicago White Sox fan.
White Sox.
You like baseball?
Yeah, that's my number. That was my best sport when I won't say best. I
know what you mean.
Really good basketball player, but I love playing baseball.
What position did you play?
Center field.
That's cool, man. Yo, I used to play baseball.
You know what that means?
I got hurt. It was unfortunate,
field.
but I used to pitch, play first base, play the outfield.
Shit.
Yeah, nah, I was okay. I was all right.
Yeah, you was a real baseball player.
Right.
Don't be humble, bro. He was nice.
First base is tough. Like a lot of people don't give first base the credit. First base is tough. And I'm a guy. I really played real baseball. But when I used to fuck around at first base, I was like, no, put me in outfield. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I want no parts of first base. So I respect you for saying that.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate
Tell him about your home run.
That's in like a men's league. I cracked it.
I will admit I could not hit for shit. I used to bat like 6
Hitting's
and 7.
hard. Hitting's hard, bro.
I was a fielder and I had
So wait,
a crazy arm.
if you bat late to the lineup, that means you're not that good.
If technically, if they have you in the bottom of the lineup, you're not one of the better hitters.
Oh, damn! You 6 and 7. You was trash.
Yeah, so I kind of got deemed at first base because I was a lefty, and when you're lefty, you can't play second, you can't play short, you can't play third, you can't catch. Yeah, it's just the way of the game, because the way that your body moves, it's more natural for a right-handed player to play those positions.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
I am right-handed, but growing up, I loved Derek Jeter, and he was a switch hitter. So I taught myself how to bat left to be a switch hitter. But when I taught myself, I was so happy that I taught myself that I only batted left. So after a few years, I forgot how to bat right. So I'm a right-handed in the field, but when I bat, it's left because I forgot how to bat right.
I always respected people that have that ability, that are right-handed but batted lefty. If I had the chance, I would be a left-handed hitter for sure. But I would love to have a right-handed glove.
What are the benefits of hitting with your left hand?
Hitting lefty, it's just a different type of mechanic to your swing to a degree. The way that every single time you're playing against not every single time, but majority of the time you're facing right-handed pitchers. And when you're a lefty, you have that advantage of seeing the ball come in on the. You understand? It's hard to really describe.
It is hard to explain.
When you're a right-handed pitcher, you're throwing and you could see the ball the whole way as a lefty. When you're right-handed, it's really tough to keep that inside part of the plate. With a left-handed hitter, you can still have that ball come inside and your ability to turn on a baseball.
How?
I'll explain it like this, because lefty to lefty is a mind fuck for me. Really, it is. Because lefty to lefty, the ball's coming in on you, but could sweep outside. When that ball comes in on you, you really have to keep your hands tight and you have to have quicker bat speed. For right-handed hitters, facing a right-handed pitcher, they will pound the fastball inside on you, and your bat speed needs to be fast. With a left-handed hitter going against a right-handed pitcher, you don't have to have insane bat speed because you can just adjust to where the pitch is at.
Damn.
You understand what I'm saying?
Baseball sounds hard to sell.
It's almost the same thing with basketball. Like left-handed players have it's hard because a lot of players that are right-handed have a high success rate. But whenever you go, even for us, if we just go to a YMCA, a lot of guys aren't used to guarding a left-handed player. So it's a little weird. Like, oh shit, I'm used to sending him here. Oh, that's actually a strong hand. So it's awkward. It's a little awkward.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
It was tough to explain, but you did a great job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So back to the origins of your fandom. So Chicago, New York, and then Dallas. How did you choose different cities? Like, what's the origin behind that?
Very simple. I'm Chicago, and that's how I like the White Sox. When I was early in my life, I watched a lot of Bulls games because I live in Chicago and they would be on TV. But my Knick fandom came from me thinking I was going to the NBA. And when I was mapping out how my life was going to be and where I was going to go, I'm going to be a McDonald American. I might go to Arizona. I might go to Duke. I might throw a curveball and go to Memphis as Derrick Rose going to Memphis and Calipar. I like Calipar. I might throw a curveball. Then I'd be like, I can't go to LA as much as I like Kobe because I ain't going to be in his shadow. Chicago got Jordan. So where's a nice, place where I can be seen, but I ain't really in nobody's shadow? And it was the Knicks. So I gravitated towards the Knicks because the Bulls, I don't know. Sometimes when you live in the city, it's hard to be a fan like of the team. Like I don't know. Bulls fans, I really don't like because I just hate how they did Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? People be acting like he wanted to be injured. That shit kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So yeah, and then football wise, my pops was a Cowboys fan because I guess in the 90s before I was born, that's when they became America's team, and so I just became a Cowboys fan like that. So
I'll tell you
I
what,
do like the Bears. I root for the Bears. I hope that they are good, but I'm just more of a Cowboys fan.
That's definitely the most unique / cool way I've ever heard someone say that that's their favorite team. I'm gonna go to this team one day. This is where I'm projecting my life to be. But you know what? This is the squad I'm gonna ride
Pierre
with.
basically said he chose the Knicks because they suck.
Yeah. I wanted to be the first.
When you played 2K My Career, was that the team you always went to?
So when I was younger, there was no My Career. So what happened
bro, how
is
old
you
are
would have 2K college. Huh?
How old are you, bro?
I'm 27.
You ain't that old. You make it seem like you like 35.
But I'm just saying, when I would basketball is like a family thing for my family. So basketball been in my life since I can remember. So when I would play the video game, though, there would be no my team.
That's true.
I played 2K since 2K existed. The very first 2K we had on Dreamcast and shit. So you would have 2K and you would also have college hoops 2K. And you would have to put yourself in the college hoops roster and import it into 2K.
Yeah.
And the Knicks would have the top pick. You're absolutely right. And that's how I wanted to be a Knick.
You never played 2K11?
And they had nobody that would stop me from being the next Kobe and Mike.
You never played 2K11? I feel like you're still young enough.
When by the time that happened, I didn't care about going to the Knicks. It was like whoever, how high could I go?
I understand what you're saying.
That was always my thing. It was like,
you want to be the first overall pick.
Can you go? Because they never let you be the number one overall
pick.
You
can't, like in the early, like 2K11, 12, you can't be number one pick.
2013 was the first year that you could go number one.
No matter, you can average 50, 50, and 50. You're not going number one, bro.
Exactly.
Bro, I spent hours.
I
spent hours trying to go number one 2K13. Like, I would save and quit to make sure, like, all right, I can't mess up.
They said it's like a cheat. Like one of the cheats in the game where, like, it just makes you want to keep playing more because it's something that you can't beat.
Interesting.
The highest I ever went was third to Washington, or fourth, the year that they picked Jan Vesley.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, the white boy with the big fro.
Yeah, they picked me in his spot, and that was like the highest I had ever been.
What's his name?
Around that time.
John Vesley.
Why did they pick him?
He wasn't a good NBA player.
Yo,
that was like a key thing in their demise. They had, if they paying that pick, you might have Bradley Beal, him, and Wall on some. I think he was right before Beal. I could be wrong. Maybe he was after the year after.
2011, pick 6.
My goodness, Washington's in shambles.
Now on to
who got picked before him or after him at 7?
I'll look it up right now.
I think 2011 was the Klay Thompson draft. I believe Klay
went 7, right?
No, he went 11.
He went 10th.
Oh, 10th or 11th.
Okay.
Should have picked Klay.
So it was Kyrie, Derek Williams, Enes Kanter, Enes Freedom.
I thought Derek Williams was going to be
Tristan
nice.
Thompson, Jonas Valanciunas, John Vesley.
Was that the PG draft?
Who's 7, 8, 9, 10?
Bismack Biyombo, Brandon Knight, Kemba Walker, Jimmer Fredette, Klay Thompson.
Leonard.
Yeah, Klay Thompson was 11.
2011 was Kawhi.
Kawhi was 15.
Kawhi was after Marcus Morris.
They should have picked Kawhi.
Traded for George Hill.
Yep.
Yikes.
Man, there's some players that I thought were going to pan out.
Derek Williams was supposed to be the truth, bro.
He was supposed to be
who I
truth.
thought was going to be
Arizona.
good? I thought he was going to be good, but he never played because he was like scared of flights. Royce White.
Yeah, he was. He's actually really good.
Royce White can hoop, bro.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a shame.
He
bro.
has a Draymond game. It would have been very nice to see him play.
Yeah, I wish
do
he
it all
played.
for. Michael Beasley is always the one when we talk about panning out.
Tragic.
That's
Bro.
like my favorite.
He was good like the first 2-3
He
seasons
was.
in his career. I don't know what happened after that. He just kind of like fell off.
Y'all ever been in Miami?
Of course.
I have.
Yep.
That tells you everything.
You know
when
what?
I was 18,
All right.
second overall pick, South Beach,
You're right, you're right.
I would have been a bust too.
Yo, that
You're
is
right.
hilarious.
On to the last topic of the show. The Pacers and Kings, they made a trade earlier in the season before the trade deadline. It was Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2023 second-round pick for Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Since that trade, the Pacers have a better record than the Kings. Granted, Sabonis hasn't played 2 games, but with Sabonis, they're 4-7. The Pacers are 4-8. Now, at the time, the trade got a lot of backlash because, I mean, we all thought it was a very short-sighted move. It wasn't good for their future plans. But looking back at it, just a couple weeks later, you could even say a month later, what are your thoughts on this trade? Again, just revisiting it. Do you think the Kings look even worse now because their record is the same as a rebuilding Pacers team? I'll start with you, Riff.
Well, I think De'Aaron Fox has looked really good. I think so. That's a start. I think
he's averaged 29, 4, and 7 since the trade.
I guess like trading Haliburton, you kind of gave Fox the idea, like, no, we're gonna ride with you, and Fox was like, all right, thank you. Like, now let me step my game up. But the thing about the trade was, I felt like trading for a big man who isn't a great floor spacer, who isn't a great rim protector, trading away a point guard with that type of ability for a player like that, who's probably going to be what he's going to be. I thought that was a short-sighted move. I don't think like this trade was going to make them any better, especially not right now. I never thought the Kings were going to be good, and Sabonis isn't somebody who was going to ever move me. I mean, they have good players. Harrison Barnes, he's a good player, but I think he can be like, they should trade him to a playoff team, maybe get another pick. But nonetheless, De'Aaron Fox has looked really good. Davion Mitchell, he is what he's going to be. He's still a good player. Harrison Barnes, he's good. Sabonis, it's like, I don't see much. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sabonis is what he's going to be. He has his limitations. He has his bright spots, but he's a 6'11" big that can barely move. He can't guard the perimeter, and he doesn't space the floor. So it's like, where does he fit in the NBA?
He's shooting 20% from 3 since the
not
trade.
great.
That's not That's not good.
That's not even happening.
I'm just saying he can shoot. He has shot. He's not. He's good.
Like the new bigs coming in. Like these bigs are versatile. They can do multiple things. They can defend the perimeter and defend the paint. Sabonis isn't that. He's an old big that should have been in the 90s. I'm sorry, or early 2000s.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah,
don't apologize for speaking facts.
With the Pacers, they were never really good, and they've been banged up. Tyrese Haliburton, I feel like the next year is going to be where we can really see from him, but he's been great also, and I think this is the perfect spot for him. But I don't think this trade, like these two teams being as bad as they are, they were bad before the trade. This trade had players that wouldn't make them any better, so I don't think they should be. They should just look at their players and evaluate their players in this situation. And Fox has been great. Haliburton has been great. Sabonis is what he is.
I'm glad that we changed the topic because originally it was supposed to be like, is this the worst trade we've seen in the past 20 years? Because this trade, sure, it's not great, but I can still name you a few trades.
Name me one.
The Celtics-Nets trade, that's arguably the worst trade in
history
history of sports.
Wait, for which team? Because didn't the Celtics land Jalen Brown?
They got three
The Nets bounced back
picks.
From that quickly, though.
Quickly to a degree.
They made the playoffs.
How many years later? And even still, when they were good, it was too late because the Celtics had already used all their picks on I think it was 1 to 3. How many years in a row?
But 3 years, making the playoffs 3 years after that trade is
the Kings are in like a 12-year, 15-year drought.
Agreed. But the point being is when the Nets were bad was when they needed to be good for those picks to not mean anything, and they ended up giving the Celtics, who were already a decent team at the time, great draft capital.
That's true. I can give you that.
So now just talking about the trade as a whole, it's unfortunate that it's turned out this way because the Kings have definitely not been anywhere near of what they wanted to do by making this trade. You know what? I understand. I deserve some laughter here.
These are both your teams you thought would get in the play-in.
Listen, Indiana, it's unfortunate. They were hurt, and they were never able to recover. And that's just a matter of the fact
Coach of the year.
They're horrible.
They just blew it
They're
up.
horrible. They're horrible. And now you look at the
Coach
Kings.
of the year.
Yeah,
he said Rick Carlisle would be coach of the year.
I was trying to make something. I was trying to spew a hot take. I'm not gonna lie. It is what it is. That's what I'm being honest. You guys went safer. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw a little spice in here.
You added.
Okay.
You tried to.
I respect it then.
Thank you.
No,
that's really what it was.
No. He's lying to you.
No, he was dead serious about that. You were dead serious about that take.
Yeah, it wasn't a hot take. You said it, and then you gave us actual evidence for why you felt like that was going to happen.
How else are you supposed to defend a hot take? You
need
need evidence.
How do you even come up with that evidence?
You just got to try. Listen, when you're me and you're trying to say something like that, you gotta figure it out.
Crazy.
But it didn't work out. It is what it is. I live with it. it's done. Now you want to look at the Kings, another team. They've just been underwhelming. De'Aaron Fox struggled early in the season, but now since the Haliburton trade, he's really turned it up. Even before that, I think it was like the last 7 games before the Haliburton trade, De'Aaron Fox was really doing his thing. But you mentioned it, how it took Haliburton leaving for him to really get going. That is not something I like to hear, truthfully. I understand that their roles were hard to accept, or not accept, but really...
It was hard for them to coexist.
Correct. But that shouldn't have been a problem. I would rather you have the talent, you guys write it out together. You have Haliburton, you have De'Aaron Fox. Marvin Bagley it's just tragic that he never was able to pan out. They drafted Bagley to be what they got in Sabonis. You understand what I'm trying to say there? What they were hoping that... what Bagley would be is what Sabonis is. So that's why they felt like...
Actually, probably even better. He was a
number 2 overall pick. So going into the season, that was my outlook. But now you go and you bring in Sabonis to a team that was already struggling. Sabonis, who is a good ball player, all-star caliber basketball player, it just wasn't going to move the needle for you mid-season in a conference already that... What was your best option here? To make the play-in? To put yourself in that level of basketball play where you're going to get sent home in the first round just to be televised for the play-in? That's really would have been your ceiling. So looking at it in this sense, it's tough to really gauge. But on the Pacers side, Tyrese Haliburton is an exciting young ball player, and it's for a team that's rebuilding. He is a great piece for you to have to be around that cornerstone piece for you to be your franchise setting ball player, I guess.
I think a lineup of Haliburton, Brogdon, Hield, Jabari Smith Jr., Miles Turner sounds cool.
And Brogdon, man, don't sleep.
He's mid.
He's not mid.
He's dead mid.
I don't know. I don't think you understand the word mid.
I think if there's 15 point guards better than you, you're mid.
There's just a lot of guard talent in the league.
It might be like 18 if everybody's healthy. I
think you're sleeping on Brogdon.
I'm not sleep. I'm up. He's mid.
He's not mid.
he's mid, bro.
I don't think so, man.
This trade was at the time I was very critical of it, and we had a segment, and I told you guys the Sabonis and Fox duo isn't even top 10 in the West. Like, I can name 10 teams that have better duos. I could probably even go a little bit further.
Can you do it just off the top?
Oh, LeBron. Let's just go by the conference. Okay,
Clippers.
Like 1 through 15.
All right.
Well, CP3 and D-Book.
Easy.
Curry and Draymond.
Easy.
John Moran and Jaren Jackson.
Okay.
John Moran, whoever.
4 is Denver, I believe. Well, Jokic
Utah.
and whoever. Or Utah, Mitchell and Gobert. Denver, Jokic and whoever.
Dallas.
6, Dallas, Luka and whoever. I don't care.
Luka and Brunson.
It can be Luka and Dinwiddie. It doesn't
because
matter.
Luka's the best player and Jokic is the best
Luka
player.
and Brunson.
But we're talking duos
Minnesota,
right now.
Cat and D'Lo or Cat and Edwards. It doesn't matter who. Clippers, Kawhi and PG when healthy. That's
Easy.
Obvious. LeBron and AD, the Lakers.
Zion and Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, or even Ingram and CJ McCollum. Like, I would take them over them. Then we look at the Spurs. The Spurs are a little bit tough. They don't have a better duo.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't have a duo. So it's
but that's really it. I would honestly, bro, if I'm projecting, SGA and Josh Giddey are over them.
SGA alone.
I don't hate that.
That's how I look at it.
Giddey needs to work on his offense, but I don't hate it.
But that's why, like, and for a team that was trying to make the play-in, I was just like, it's a short-sighted move. I did like the DiVincenzo trade.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay, but they're just stuck. Like, it's unfortunate because the Kings kind of had to make a win-now move just to kind of give the fan base some excitement. But the Pacers are in a far better position. Haliburton was great when Fox wasn't on the court, and he was even playing efficient with him. I feel like with those players, you have to give them time to coexist with each other. It doesn't happen instantly. And I don't think Alvin Gentry is the right coach for them either. You know, if I was Sacramento, I would have got like a Kenny Atkinson to, come in and really get their roles figured out. But you look at the Indiana Pacers, like Haliburton is averaging 20 and 9 basically there. Jalen Smith is averaging 13 and 8 since getting traded to Indiana. Those were 2 players that Phoenix passed up on Haliburton to draft Jalen Smith. I thought that was a mistake. Now they're playing together. It's really ironic. And Isaiah Jackson is somebody who's been really playing well as of recently.
Yep.
He's been getting minutes, and he's somebody that was raw out of college, a defensive player, very athletic, but really didn't have much there at the time. And now he's really benefiting from Haliburton because I think Malcolm Brogdon is more of a 2 guard. He can facilitate, yeah, there's no doubt. But I think playing the two is much more his role. And Haliburton is a true point guard.
For sure.
And I think the Pacers lucked into him because, I mean, yeah, you traded him for an all-star caliber player in Sabonis, but Sabonis is in that Julius Randle tier. Like, he can be the best player on a playoff team, sure, maybe, but you're not going to go very far, and you're going to realize very quickly that he's not the answer to any of your problems.
Pee-wee?
Y'all said a lot of factual shit, man.
Are you trying to defend the Kings right now?
Say that again.
Are you trying to think of something to defend the Kings? Is that why you're saying
hell
that?
no.
Okay.
I think you got to move the Kings. Move the Kings to Seattle or Vegas. It's time to just rewrap that. And the De'Aaron Fox thing is, I hated the trade because why would you invest in De'Aaron Fox? If he couldn't play next to Haliburton, I wouldn't want him.
That's facts.
Because Haliburton didn't do anything wrong. He was good with or without De'Aaron Fox, I felt like. And now we're seeing Fox start back playing better. But the thing about Fox is he's playing better without Haliburton, but he's not elite. So it's like, I don't want a guy who's elite with the basketball, but can't play without the basketball, because now we just have to settle for being all right. And all right has been terrible for the Kings. I agree with y'all with the Sabonis thing. He does fall in that Julius Randle category, not as bad, because when Julius Randle has his low moments, they are extremely low. But Sabonis doesn't stretch the floor. He doesn't protect the rim. He's not a live threat. So it just, I don't know. And then Haliburton is dynamic, man, because now going forward with the Pacers, you can play him in a lot of different ways. He can coexist with a Brogdon. If you get a Jaden Ivey and not a Jabari Smith, he can play with him. He's making everybody better. They have a trade chip with Buddy Hield now in the offseason that I feel like Sacramento dropped the ball. Sacramento had pieces to get a nice young team. They could have traded Fox, Hield, Harrison Barnes, y'all mentioned. And if you traded all of them, now Rashawn Holmes is probably available. So I'm not a fan of what Sacramento is doing. I like what the Pacers are doing. I can't wait to see where they land in the draft, because it's a lot of different prospects that I think could go in there and help them out and complement what they do. I think the underrated move was the Jalen Smith, though. I know a lot of attention went to Haliburton, but that was a really, really good pickup for them. And they still have Miles Turner to trade and Brogdon if they want to in offseason. So they doing the right things, man.
Would you move off Miles Turner?
No, because I like him with Hal. It depends on where I am in the draft. If I'm top 3 and I can get Chet, Jabari, Paolo, that may make me reconsider. And it also depends on what I'm getting back. How much do teams view, Miles Turner? But I think teams view him highly. So, fuck it. Why not?
So hypothetically speaking, you have the number 1 pick. You are the poverty-stricken Indiana Pacers. Who do you take at number 1?
I'm taking Chet Holmgren.
So then I
don't think he's the number. He's not my favorite. But for the Pacers specifically, I would take him.
So then you're trading Miles.
Yes.
Who's your favorite in the draft?
We back in the mix that fast. We got Haliburton. We got Dorte. We got Buddy Hield.
My Pacers take will be right next season. I'm doubling down.
Haliburton and Chet together. That's nice, man. That's nice.
Who's your number 1 prospect in the draft?
I think it's dependent on who has the number 1, but I like Jabari Smith just because I liked him. And I called it before. I did like a video on my YouTube about the incoming prospects before the season started. And I have a clip where I was saying that Jabari Smith Jr. is a person nobody talking about that I think could compete with Chet and Paolo for the number 1 pick. So every time I see him climbing up, I just retweet that video, put it right back on the time. Group. So I like Jabari's guy. I like all 3 of their games, though. I like what Chet can do on the defensive side. I like Jabari's offensive upside. And I think Paulo can be scary. It just really depends on who has the picks where.
If I had if Detroit gets 1, I think Paulo should go with
him
Cade.
And Cade would be nice.
I think that pick and roll would be
that would
really
be crazy.
Because his skill set, he has the best skill set out of all 3 of them, I think.
For sure.
And his pick and pop game and pick and roll game is ridiculous. So I think him with Cade would just set up so much for everybody else. Like you said, it really depends on what team gets 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if one team, the way the league is set up right now, the way last year's draft is, when I think everybody's going to pick situationally and everybody's going to go to the right spot.
Yeah, I think so
Pistons,
too.
The Pistons got a nice core, man. The Pistons they shaping up to have
just suck.
Shit. Like if you get Paulo with Cade and you have Sadiq,
He's a good role player.
You got Hami's been playing. He's still young.
Yeah.
Are you out
him.
on Killian Hayes?
Am I out as far as what?
Him being a basketball player in terms of him being good.
A starter.
Sure.
Yes, I'm out as a starter.
What is he?
Damn.
I guess he come off.
If you can't play over Corey Joseph, where is your place in the NBA?
Well, he can't play over Corey Joseph right now. Who's to say 3 years from now he can't be a nice rotational?
He's in year
player.
3 or 2 right now.
Yeah, he's in year 2. He's in year 2.
And he's behind.
His year one. He's damn near in year 1 again. Year 1 was so bad. He's still a rookie.
He's behind. Like he's behind a lot.
He's very behind.
He's
something.
terrible.
So you got to hope that he could just be a rotational player at this point because I
think at this point saying he plays defense isn't even saving him anymore.
Listen, I was taking that dude in my parlays and he wasn't giving me 4.5 points.
Hopefully, you weren't taking his unders.
No, not at the beginning of the year. Hell no. I thought at the beginning of the year, Killian Hayes could get me 6 points. Nobody here is going to convince me. At the beginning of the year, they thought Killian Hayes couldn't get them 6 points.
Yeah, no, you're right. 6 points.
It's funny because something I do that always makes me laugh is I go on Twitter and I search up certain players' names. Killian Hayes is one of those guys that I searched up his name. I was surprised and shocked to see how many Pistons fans are still all the way in on Killian. I mean, maybe I'm just not fair enough, but I was out on Killian when this past summer league, when you're in your second year and I see you struggle against that competition.
Yes.
Once I see you, I'm like, bro, like he's one of the worst players on the court. He's in his second year. You can talk about the injuries all you want, but like these aren't even NBA players and he's struggling.
He's a European player too.
Like we made this take, we made this take like, yo, is Killian Hayes like a bust? Is it fair to say like he's trending towards being a bust? And a lot of people gave us pushback for it because, it is very early in his career, but at the same time, like all the signs point to him being that.
He's not.
Yeah, they do. But he is so young, it is so early that I'm like, man, we've seen crazier shit happen. So fully in, you saying the Pistons fans are fully bought in, that's crazy, but to hope that he would be some type of rotational piece ain't super crazy. But the starting guard spot is locked up. It's Cade Cunningham, and whoever can compliment Cade Cunningham the best, and that ain't Killian Hayes, so he can kiss that goodbye.
As a fellow Knicks fan, I have to ask you this question: how long was it until you were out on Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina?
Quick.
Me too.
When you say in on it, it's like, can they reach their full potential? I would say quick.
Would you take Knox with the
those
fourth
are two
pick
picks
overall?
that I was kind of just like,
Knox was
cool,
the ninth.
we got him, but I wasn't doing backflips over him, so I didn't hurt
Knox
me.
was a bad pick.
Knox was the ninth or
I thought he was early for some
Eighth.
reason.
He was eighth.
Ntilikina was eighth.
Oh,
Knox was 7 then, 7 or 8. No, because the Bulls got 7 back to back, so Knox was 8.
yeah. We picked Kobe that year, I think. Was it Kobe?
Man,
Wendell, y'all picked.
Oh my god.
I wanted
Great
MP.
pick.
I was at work. I used to work at UPS. I was unloading boxes out the truck.
Bro was slaving.
The Knicks, the pick was on the clock. My manager comes to me because we were both like, he was a huge basketball fan. We used to talk hoops all the time. He's like, bro, you guys got the 9th pick, and I was keeping up with the draft. I knew MPJ was slipping.
Yep.
I was like, please take MPJ. I was doing jumping jacks in the truck already. I was like, yes, we got MPJ. Once they said it was Kevin Knox, I almost broke it down in tears, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
There was
I
a
wanted MPJ too.
There
man.
was a lot of concern on his back, though.
I would have took the risk.
Yeah, I wanted MPJ. I wanted MPJ. We picked
You want to
Wendell.
know? Know why I would have taken a risk? Because this was my logic. That year, KP was gonna miss the entire year anyway because he was just coming off his ACL injury.
Yep.
MPJ could have sat the entire year with KP. We could have gotten a top 3 pick.
Another one.
We could have, whoever it would have been. It would have been RJ, Ja, Zion, whoever it would have been. And then we would have had a legit core. No, I think that was the draft for Trey and Luka, and then we're in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're correct.
I was like, bro, I want Luka and KP to be teammates so bad. Like I was on that bandwagon so much. But no, we took Kevin Knox and,
Pee-wee, let me
I
ask you
wanted
a question.
MPJ too, man. I wanted MPJ. I got a cousin that plays for the Bucks, Javon Carter. So he had a draft party that night, and you were saying you wanted MPJ on the Bulls. They signed to the same agency, so everybody at the draft party was hoping that MPJ, they would take the risk on him for the Bulls. And I was in that motherfucker like, yes, he gonna go to the Knicks now. I won't even lie. I wasn't too mad at the Kevin Knox because I thought Kevin Knox at best would be solid. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was gonna be all right. Oh my gosh.
So wait,
the Knicks draft better late than they do early.
So Javon Carter's your cousin?
Yes.
Like blood.
Yes.
That's
like,
lit.
That's actually really lit. I remember
like,
I watched a lot of Javon Carter
in
West
shit.
Virginia. I watched a lot of him there. They was playing full court defense for every game, 40 minutes. West Virginia was tough, man.
That's Deuce McBride style too.
Yeah, that's Bob Duggins.
Yeah.
They played full court defense all
Bob
game.
Huggins, right?
Huggins, yeah.
Shout out to Bob, man. Yes, sir.
Pee-wee, let me ask you a question real quick. While we're not on the topic, but who's your pick to come out the West and the East this year?
It's real situational for the East because the Nets are just so dependent on so much shit. Ben Simmons and he's not playing 1-on-1 and his back and Kyrie and the mandate. Now the fact that they have to do the uphill battle, it kind of concerns me. But I'm gonna go Miami. But I like the Bucks a lot. I think the Bucks ain't people. I was just doing a show with Channing Tatum. Shannon Fry, not Tatum. I'm sorry, Tatum. Shannon Fry. And he was saying that people are just bored of the Bucks, and I think he may be right. The Bucks are the Bucks. So I mean, it's hard not to go against them. But I like the Heat, man. I'm gonna stick with my Heat.
And in the West,
as y'all called it, my Heat.
Yeah, they are your Heat, no doubt about it.
The West, again, dependent. We got to see Draymond. I'll go Phoenix. Phoenix has been the best team. Let's go Phoenix.
Your guy.
I hate taking the 2 number 1 seeds, but
over Golden State.
I got to see Draymond, man. I got to see Draymond. At the beginning of the season, when I was watching them and they were at full strength, I was like, before Clay came, I was like, oh man, this team is. I cannot believe that the Warriors are this fucking good, man.
Crazy.
What's crazy about the Warriors is that not only do they have the established stars like Steph, Draymond, and Clay, but you have the up and coming ones now in Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moses Moody, and James Wiseman, even to where when they get old, these players are gonna put them on their back, and they're gonna still be contending.
Oh, Steph.
I don't know about all that now. I like Moses Moody. I got all the receipts and tweets about saying that no way that he doesn't be a Warrior. But I don't know if he's like that, where they gonna recycle into contention.
I think Kuminga is.
Nah, Kuminga's like that.
Kuminga.
I think Kuminga is.
I don't know if he's carrying them to be in a contingent cycle.
I don't think they need to. I
don't
think he needs to carry, because if Kuminga becomes an all-star, Steph and Clay are still going to be at worst 3-point shooters, whatever. Like, they're still going to be those type of players.
Even them in their prime, though, it's not a given that they are like.
That is true.
You know what I mean? We ain't writing the Warriors in.
Well, you ain't. I am.
I do like Jordan Poole though.
They did last night was the first night they ran the Steph, Poole, Clay starting lineup.
Really?
And Poole and Clay at 30.
Tough.
Because they're overcommitting to Steph, so they put 2 shooters next to Wiggins and Looney. You know how much I hate Looney, but they started them 5. And
Looney is the oldest, youngest motherfucker I've ever seen, man.
He's like 25, 26 years old.
Yes, he's still younger than me.
Yeah, he's still young.
Older.
Kerr finally took my advice and started Poole.
But he didn't drop Clay. So he took a little bit of both.
You were saying drop Clay? Oh, my God. I'm about to close my laptop.
Okay. This was my reasoning. And it wasn't even a take. I've like clarified myself. But, you know, Clutch Points posted a clip of our podcast
set you up.
with no context. Draymond Green commented on it and basically said some harsh words about me. It's whatever. So,
shout out to Clutch Points.
So basically, I was watching a Warriors game, and you know Jordan Poole was in the starting lineup. He did what he does, and I was like, you know, is it out of the realm of possibility that he can start over Clay, and Clay can be one of the best 6 men in the NBA?
Yeah, you wild, bro.
It's
just
Klay
for
Thompson.
cultural reasons and what he represents, they wouldn't even do that.
They wouldn't even think
he'll never be a bench player.
They told Poole at the beginning of the season, you're not going to start when Clay gets back.
Steve Kerr even said it like right when Clay was ready to come back. He was like, we're not going to tinker with anything. Like he's going to start day one.
Yep.
You got it.
And Jordan Poole is better suited as a 6 man. He has that Jordan Clarkson blood type where they ain't a shot them dudes don't like, man. They would shoot with one hand tied behind their back if they could.
Yeah, Jordan Poole
against the
great.
Nuggets, he went insane.
Okay.
So this is going to do it for episode 162 of the Pick a Side podcast.
Give the guy.
Want to give a shout out to Pierre, PeeWeeDaPlug. thank you for being on the show, bro. It really means a lot to us, and we're glad you stayed the entire way.
No, I appreciate y'all having me, man. Y'all got a dope show. I
you,
enjoyed my stay. This is definitely something I'm gonna try to tune into. It be do y'all fall into this thing, like, because y'all have your own podcast, y'all don't watch as many other podcasts because you spend so much time doing your shit?
Nah, he's speaking facts. It's so tough for me to sit down and watch others when I'm here. What how long is this? Almost 2 and a half
and 17 minutes.
That's draining in of itself. You know what I'm saying? To sit down and watch another. Like, I watch the small clips, but the full length thing, that's tough.
I watch clips. Like, now that they put the clips or have the little timestamp, I'll watch what intrigues me, but I ain't gonna watch no full episode.
Yeah, it's tough, but I'm gonna try to do my best to make sure I'm tuning in and supporting y'all. And this is definitely some dope shit. I like the conversation. I be nervous to do shit because I be waiting on that questionable statement, questionable, narrative somebody putting y'all. That didn't happen once today. Even when it was disagreements, it was good disagreement. Ain't nobody had no temper tantrum or no shit like that. So
you caught us on a good day, thank God.
That's all I asked for, man. I just asked for progressive basketball talk. I prefer to disagree as long as we, two sides are making facts. And it's pick a side. I guess that's what y'all standing and live by.
That's the brand.
Keep killing it, man.
What you mentioned about the podcasting is true. I will say, like, what I tune into are like things that can help out the show.
Facts.
Like, for example, if JJ Redick's on with like Draymond Green, like I have to watch that. Like,
I don't count him though.
JJ Redick,
that's like an interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we always gonna make time to get in the perspective of a player.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, when you see The Ringer and Bill Simmons, and I'm just casually talking about what they think about the Western Conference race.
Yeah.
Bill Simmons has many bad takes for me. I don't.
Yeah, I feel you on that too. But anybody, that's just the first thing that came to my mind. Anybody that, because there's so many podcasts. It's like Jalen and Jacoby. As much as I like them, I don't have time to casually be listening to all of these podcasts that are in the world. So, and then on top of that, you're trying to also, create your own perspective, and because it is a thing of hearing somebody else make some shit, and you might think about, like, man, that was a good ass point. But if you don't hear what nobody else got to think, and all you got is your own brain and shit, you come up, so I try to make sure my basketball takes ain't diluted or anything.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do, because, like, what you just mentioned, when you have a show and you're trying to make a take, you don't want to tune into everybody else because you don't want their opinions to become your own.
Facts. Big facts.
So, like, for me, I try to support as much as I can, but I also want to keep my own perspective and point of view.
Pee-wee, last question. Someone had mentioned to us that you had shouted us out or something along those lines. You mentioned our podcast. We tried to find the statement of you shouting us out, but we never could find it. Could you find it or no?
I couldn't find it.
Do you remember off the top of your head? If you don't, it is what it is. Do you remember
I do not.
Interesting.
I do not. I did shout it out, but I do not, man.
Yeah.
Because we do so many episodes, I don't remember.
No,
shit,
I don't remember. I tell Drew this all the time. I don't remember the episode after I leave. Like,
I just remember.
I don't remember.
You know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying Jabari Smith is going to potentially be in the number one talk, and I'm gonna remember that, but I can't say, oh, that
so
was the
there's been
episode.
times when people send me a take and I'm like, I don't remember saying that. Like, I just don't remember it. And I'd be like, well, you got me. But it is what it is.
It's a YouTube channel who makes these clips of us now. His name is like Through the Wire Clips, and he takes all of this old footage and all, and it's so many episodes he done made, and I'm like, I forgot I even said that. I said some shit like Ben Simmons could be MVP in his second year. Like, that was like,
you got to stand on that, so bro. Bad. You got to stand on that.
To piggyback off that question, do you like remember where you found us?
I don't even know. I don't know. I think it may have been something in passing though. Somebody may have showed some love, said something, and like I just show love to who show love to us. So it ain't never anything crazy or deep. But I do a lot of shout outs. That's also another thing. Like I try to like y'all was doing when y'all shouted out the people who were supporting y'all. When somebody has a birthday and they hit me up like, yo, it's my birthday. If I can remember, I try to shout out, because people who support you are big. They're the reason you have a platform. So I don't even remember, bro. I did shout it out, but I shout out a lot of podcasts too, because a lot of people have had me on. A lot of people ask for advice. So I just try to shout out because for me, I don't think it's no competition. I want everybody to succeed. It's a lot of room for everybody.
Sure.
Y'all doing your own original thing. So like I said, anytime I can support and bring attention, I try to do that as long as it's worthy. Some people be in the early stages. Like a lot of people hit me up and be like, you come on my first episode. And it's like, you should learn, get some experience first, because then you're just going to waste a feature or appearance on the first episode you ever do on anything is 9 out of 10 is going to be garbage.
That's facts. That's facts.
So, but yeah, I don't know.
We appreciate it.
Somebody will know. Somebody will find it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And if we're ever in Chicago, we got to hoop or something, bro.
Facts.
Y'all don't fucking hoop.
Come on, I don't like that. You can't judge that off just looking at us. We could.
I ain't judging off looks. I'm judging off the takes. Come on, man. Donovan Mitchell over Devin Booker. A basketball player is taking Devin Booker.
Listen, man. I just like
Jaylen Brown more complete than Kyrie.
Yes, I'm standing on that.
That's a non-basketball. That's something a baseball player would say.
Yo, come on now. He is more complete. He is.
You
more
know
complete.
you know what I am going to tune in with y'all? The football one.
Tough.
I'm gonna watch the football one.
Tough.
Yeah.
I don't listen to nothing football or anything football, but I do like and enjoy football. That's my third sport. Like I know the least about football versus baseball and basketball. So I'm gonna check the football shit out. Who y'all teams is?
I'm a New York Jets fan.
Thank
Of
God.
course, right.
I'm a Broncos fan. Shout out. It's been a great week.
I'm an Eagles fan.
Oh wow, we got beef.
Yeah, so that's my boys, man. We ain't got no beef though. I don't beef.
respect it.
I have not won
it.
a playoff game in mad long. It's no beef here.
That's crazy. A Bronco fan. You look like the entire time we're doing a podcast, I've been thinking Baker Mayfield, bro. You look like
It's that pretty boy mentality, I guess. That's what it got to be.
All right, man. We appreciate you for being on the show. You can find us on Twitter at PickAsidePod, on Instagram and TikTok at PickAsidePodcast. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.